And we are live. Every day, 9 o'clock, 12. Let's go. It's your boy knows. It's Brando. It's your boy Brando. Let's get it, let's pop, let's go, let's get it. Yeah. 1, 2. Okay, where we at? I be getting that money up, don't I? Spin it up, hobby, 1, 2, don't I? Yeah, let's get this popping right about now. Hold on. Are we sitting pretty at 2:30 early in the morning? It's a good sign. There it is. Grand Rising. Oh, let's get into this. 9 o'clock in the morning. Now if you know that East G and Branco knows, I'm gonna go ahead and start this show so I can get my day popping. You heard? Let's go.
Rooftop, digging in the scene with the gangster lean and and we ain't coming down. See on my face that smile. See on my head that crown. I'm on the top of the world, top of the town, baby.
I moved up the hood that had the church on the corner where I sit and talk shit all day cause I wanna. And on top of that, wasn't none of y'all gonna do nothing but keep running your mouth and keep frontin'. Go ahead and say something. I'll wait. I ain't gonna wait too late, 'cause in a minute I'm escape. If there is no debate, no, it's not an option. You gotta keep cock watch.
Sun rooftop, digging in the scene with the gangster lean and we ain't coming down. See on my face that smile. See on my
Routine Cam, tell them where we from, baby.
I'm from 140th and Lenox. I'm from NFL. Up the block is 40 Wolves. Lou Simpson's on 142nd Cross Square. D. Ferg on number 8th Avenue. I don't see you around none of this. Not from none of that.
Now if you follow me, I will follow you too. Now if you follow me, then I will follow you too.
Yes. we going? Okay, let's see what's going on with your girl LC.
Do everybody a favor and just walk this heifer out, pick her up and take her back to the bar. Has accomplished nothing, has done nothing. Districts are failing, and then on here has no idea what she's talking about. They ought to walk down there and just put people in handcuffs, throw them against the wall, throw them on the floor, audits, investigations. I tell you, man, but just a disgrace. Has no idea what she's talking about. So let's go and get into it.
Does your portal make it easy to appeal their decisions so that after 2 attempts, the SBA can then take over the case?
Borrowers can appeal. 95% of the loans are forgiven and repaid today. So we're only talking about 5% of loans, and a substantial part of those are going through the appeal process as we speak. And so the borrowers can appeal, and we're in the process of finishing up that last 20,000 or so loans. It's a small amount of loans, and they're finishing.
And to certify that 95% is a full forgiveness amount percent?
Forgiveness or repayment. Some of them,
full forgiveness, not partial.
The vast majority are full forgiveness, but I can get the data to you.
So is the 90, I apologize, not to, belabor the point, but is that 95% a partial loan forgiveness or a full loan forgiveness rate?
They're getting what the borrowers are applying for the forgiveness entitled on the program. 95% of them have gone through or repaid, and the vast majority of them are full forgiveness, but they're entitled to what the program designed. The government designed the program, and we implement the program very short notice. 500,000 people, 10,000 people working on this program. And Easter weekend working on the program to help those borrowers at the time. And so we're finishing that up. It's just let the process go. And a lot of what you're reading, frankly, is not the facts because it's old. It doesn't understand how the math works. And so just give us some time. We'll give you the facts and you'll see it.
Yeah,
it's all in the problem.
What is the reason that Bank of America chose to opt out of the SBA portal?
I can get somebody to give you that. I have no idea of whether, I told you before, I'm not sure we did or didn't, and I have no idea why they would have made the decision, but we are processing loans as fast as anybody. Okay,
and I'm sorry, I'm just having a tough time. This is about $25.2 billion in loan amounts in your bank, correct? And
not anymore. No, it's down.
But at one point in time. And so we are looking, and so you're uncertain as to why the bank has not chosen to enroll in the SBA portal?
I said we will get you the information.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. When you try to we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Well, what's going on, family? I hope everybody that's tuned in right now that you are blessed, well, and healthy, that you've had a great weekend, great Independence Day, happy 4th of July, and we are off to a new week, man. But I tell you, this lady here, go back to the bar. I'll tell you, it's a disgrace down there in Washington, a disgrace down there in Congress. People ought to be walked out in handcuffs. But this lady here has had, I tell you, she's actually had a pretty terrible, crazy I say a couple of weeks, like 2 months of just being completely exposed. I mean, just a fraud, I feel like, and then the day before, 2-3 days ago, she was live on television crying. It just gets worse and worse. Again, they've done nothing. She's accomplished nothing, But before we continue on with this on today's show, today's sponsor is my sponsor of people exposing these frauds down there in Washington. So check this video out, and then we'll continue with this on today's show.
Okay, so someone asked me to expose AOC and to give her background. Say less. So AOC, also known as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she is U.S. Representative of New York's 14th Congressional District. So the way she portrays her life is in such a woe is me. I was in a working class. I lost my father at a young age. I had to work to help pay the bills. I came from the Bronx. I'm a Bronx girl. But in actuality, she was born in Parkchester, Bronx, moved 40 minutes north of the Bronx. She grew up in the suburbs, Westchester County, which now homes are selling for like $900,000 for perspective. AOC attended Yorktown High School, a very prominent high school, again, in the suburbs, but she's a Bronx girl. So back in 2019, when she was running in office, she said that she would be portraying and representing the working class. And I find that ironic because her father was an architect. She was actually from a middle class family, and her father, that small owned business that he owned, he founded an architectural firm. His architectural firm's name is Kirschbaum and Ocasio Roman Architects, PC. So most of her campaigning is about how she was a bartender. She had to work to help provide for her family after her father's passing. Her father passed from lung cancer, but in 2008, she was a sophomore in college at that time. So after her father's passing, the company that he started, it didn't just end, it's still in existence, bringing in like over $500,000 revenue annually. Even if she were to work as a bartender to help pay the bills, wouldn't you think that she would attend college nearby in New York and not out of state at a private university, Boston College? Boston College currently costs $93,000 for out of state students. So when AOC is in front of minority groups, I notice her accent changes. She starts using words like ain't. So she was in front of a minority group and she's saying, I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You're right, AOC, there is nothing wrong with being a bartender, but what is wrong is changing your dialect and your tone to suit the audience that you're thinking appeases to them. The Democratic Party, I find funny because it has a tendency to just have their people switch up accents based on who they're talking to. Jasmine Crockett does the same thing, and so does Kamala Harris. So what's my message? My message here is it's okay to relate to people, but it's another to just lie about your upbringing to appease to people that you think will relate to you. There's no need to be ashamed of your upbringing, how you were raised. Talk about the actual history of how you were raised, but to say you're from the Bronx, you come from a working class, a small business owner that your father was, it's just not accurate. So my personal opinion, another plant in the Democratic Party.
Your awareness, your banks have opted out of Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness,
Excuse me, that is incorrect.
with the portal with the SBA. Thank you.
They're always incorrect. I'll tell you, this woman's a disgrace and has done nothing, has accomplished nothing. Districts are failing. They want this woman. I tell you, Miss Yorktown, this fraud.
Just trying to finish my sentence. Now, I would like to zero in a little bit on Bank of America. Mr. Moynihan, are you aware of how many PPP loans your bank has facilitated on behalf of its customers?
About 400 and almost 500,000, and 95% are forgiven or repaid already. Mm-hmm. And we're finishing up the rest of them.
How many of those loans, in terms of the percentage, have those loans been forgiven in full as opposed to in part?
The ones that are forgiven are mostly, vast majority be forgiven in full.
In full. What we're starting to see here with some reporting in The Intercept, and this is just one reason why I was curious about the numbers.
All right, Sandy. All right.
Is that we're starting to see that Bank of America is refusing to forgive some PPP loans in full. But in terms of the portal that Bank of America has set up, it's very difficult to appeal these decisions. And in fact, what we're seeing is that Bank of America had pre-populated a forgiveness amount in their portal, sometimes drastically lower than small business owners had anticipated and had qualified for. And in instances where these small business owners have documentation, there's very little recourse or appeal. Does your portal make it easy to appeal their decisions so that after 2 attempts, the SBA can then take over the case?
Borrowers can appeal. 95% of loans are forgiven and repaid today, so we're only talking about 5% of loans, and a substantial part of those are going through the appeal process as we speak. And so the borrowers can appeal, and we're in the process of finishing up that last 20,000 or so loans. It's a small amount of loans, and they're finishing.
And to certify that 95% is a full forgiveness amount percent?
Forgiveness or repayment. Some
full forgiveness, not partial.
The vast majority are full forgiveness, but I can get the
I know
data.
what she's talking about. You know.
So is the 90, I apologize.
Sandy. God dog it, Sandy. Let's get it right. You're going to have everybody here all day, all night. They need to walk your butt out. Up here smiling. You ain't accomplished nothing. You've done nothing, ma'am.
Not to, belabor the point, but is that 95% a partial loan forgiveness or a full loan forgiveness rate?
Oh, just give everybody a Pop-Tart. What flavor would you like? Just give everybody a Pop-Tart.
They're getting what the borrowers are applying for the forgiveness entitled in the program. 95% of them have gone through or repaid, and the vast majority of them are full forgiveness, but they're entitled to what the program designed. The government designed the program, and we implement the program. Very short notice. 500,000 people, 10,000 people working on this program.
And
Easter weekend working on the program to help those borrowers at the time. And so we're finishing that up. It's just let the process go. And a lot of what you're reading, frankly, is not the facts because it's old. It doesn't understand how the math works. And so just give us some time. We'll give you the facts and you'll see it.
Yes.
It's all.
Yeah, in one ear, out the other. And this same woman, her and Bernie Sanders, they scream oligarchy.
What is the reason that Bank of America chose to opt out of the SBA portal?
I can get somebody to give you that. I have no idea of whether, I told you before, I'm not sure we did or didn't, and I have no idea why they would have made the decision, but we are processing loans as fast as anybody.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm just having a tough time.
You're always having a tough time, Sandy. You're always having a tough time. They ought to take you back to the bar. You might not have a hard time there.
This is about $25.2 billion in loan amounts in your bank, correct? And
Not anymore. No, it's down.
but at one point in time. And so we are looking, and so you're uncertain as to why the bank has not chosen to enroll in the SBA portal?
I said we will get you the information. The amount of loans we have left on this thing is a billion or so. It's down to very little amount.
No worries.
It's all paid back. It's all through. The team did a great job, and we're happy to supply the information to you.
I'll tell you, boy, you just can't make this up, man. What was this, like 2022? And then you look at in today's time, it's just getting worse. They ought to walk these people out, man. Nothing's accomplished. They've done nothing, accomplished nothing, man. Well, let me know what y'all think of this. I love y'all. God bless you all, your family, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, you guys. Peace and love, you guys.
Former City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby is guilty of 2 counts of perjury.
The former 2-term top Baltimore City prosecutor.
The fact.
Former City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby is guilty of 2.
Peace and love, you guys.
Dad, I'm Bud.
Let's count the smiles.
I see 1, 2, 3.
Amazon Freight can scale with you. Transparent pricing, simple booking, and 24/7 support. All powered by Amazon's trusted transportation network.
We're here.
Historic highs. Cops are saying, I'm out. I don't want to be a cop for you. Definitely not when you're the mayor. And union says Zohran Mamdani could make it even worse. Former AOC backer has a stark warning for young Mamdani fans. They're selling a fantasy that doesn't work. Weather agency under fire after failing to warn of Texas flood. And you should see this one tweet this lady said. She worked as a pediatrician at this one hospital. Where did she work at? Was she a teacher? Anyways,
Oh,
we
the
have
teacher. And then there's another one too. I got
yeah.
you that you're gonna love.
Amount you need for a minimum quality of life in America, revealed by Adam Sosnick, and then we got a few other things here, stories that we'll get into. Anyways, so this is going to be a hot podcast. We just last night I had the as we're going through everything that's going on right now with the market, the lemon box that we launched. Okay, this campaign that we launched with the messages. Rob, if you can go to it. I absolutely love the stories that we're getting, the testimonies that we're getting, Rob. Okay, the Zested Forward, that you open it up with a video being played with the hat and the merch being in it. And it's a heartfelt message to people that are going through tough times today. If you haven't yet sent this to anybody, listen, I challenge you. I encourage you. Send it to someone. See their reaction. Here's some of the notes we got recently from 3 people that have been using the lemon box. Here's somebody named Patrick, phenomenal name. Hi, guys. I gave it to my wife as part of her Mother's Day gift. She's a national sales manager for a yacht company and found it to be very encouraging. She teared up when she received it, and I'm sure she will open the box again and listen to it over and over and over again. Thank you. Rob, if you can go to the next one. Here's something from Karen. The recipient loved the lemon box with the hat and video. It was just what she needed to pull her out of a bad time. Thanks for such creative ways we can express love and encouragement to people who need just a bit of recognition. And then the next one here, we have a Magnia. Bought these boxes for my son. Bought this box for my son who was going through some hard times. When he got it, called me crying because he said it was exactly what he needed and thought this gift was the most thoughtful thing he had received. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade is a simple message and a great message for so many. PBD's message in the box was awesome. Loved it. So if you got somebody that's going through things, folks, job, career, family, marriage, personal life, go to vtmerch.com, zest it forward, send it to somebody. Sometimes we love getting stuff for ourselves, but sometimes we just want to make somebody else's day. You can't wait for them to message you and tell you how grateful they are for that. And on top of that, ladies, you've been asking about it. And my wife, some other ladies, Kim, others been saying, Pat, we need some sports gear for the ladies. So here's what we have now as well. That's officially launched on vtmerch.com. Go for it, Rob. So make sure the golf cart doesn't come with the purchase.
Okay, Taylor. Alicia. Natalia, Lay. We got some fit ladies that work for people.
We got a gym.
I'm so, I'm a little offended that
Ladies.
you guys didn't ask me to be in it. I could have worn a wig.
No, we're not doing that. We want
That's
real
right,
ladies is what we want, not the one you dress up to be sometimes, Vinny. So go
Real
to
women.
vtmerch.com, place your order. When you do, you will receive a VT, I Love VT keychain. Gang, we know most of our listeners are men, and we know most men, what we tend to do is we tend to procrastinate. The ladies will buy gifts for you. Guys, go buy some gear for your wife, for your girlfriend, for your loved ones, and send it to them. Surprise them. Go to vtmerch.com. Make someone's day today. All right, let's get right into it. First story I want to get into, Vinny, with your permission. I know you want other stories for us to get into.
I can't believe you're not.
I know you want me to go into Bloomberg, economy, all that other stuff. I've chosen to go into the Jeffrey Epstein story first with, just, I know you don't want us to go this direction, but we'll do it. So here we go. Story comes out, ABC News. DOJ FBI review finds no Jeffrey Epstein client list, confirms suicide. That's the memo that comes out. And Rob, I think you may have a video on this one, not just one. You got a lot of videos that we're going to be going through, folks, on this one here. So to remind folks, as we're going through this, Justice Department and FBI review ordered by President Trump, appointed leadership found no evidence that notorious deceased financier Epstein kept a client list of associates whom he blackmailed or conspired with to victimize dozens of women, stating that investigators did not cover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. The review released hours of reported footage, perpetrated footage, confirming Epstein died by suicide in Manhattan jail in 2019. The DOJ memo states, perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends. Now, Attorney General Pam Bondi faced criticism from Trump supporters for delays in releasing Epstein's case files, which she attributed to tens of thousands of hours. This is one of the videos. Rob, is this one of the original videos when she talked about it?
Yeah, so I have February, March, and April of this year, 3 different instances where Pam Bondi talks about the Jeffrey Epstein client list. This is from February.
Go for it. So this is the first one.
Maybe releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So that's the first one.
So have you
Got
seen
it.
anything?
That's the first one. Then it goes to the next one. Go for it, Rob.
And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, you know, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept, Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course, and Cash is going to, Director Patel is going to get us a detailed report as to why.
So pause this. So far we know. Now go to the next one, Rob. And this is after O'Keefe Media Group found
the
a
restaurant.
video.
The restaurant, right.
Yeah, the restaurant. So after O'Keefe Media Group found the video, and Pam Bondi, this is what she had to say. Go for it.
Yeah, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call them.
You can pause that here. And then this is what, Rob? This is
Alina Habba. This is her with Piers Morgan back in February, where she talks about the Jeffrey Epstein client list and the names being revealed.
Go for it.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be accountability.
All right, so you can pause it. Now, we got a lot of other clips, okay? Rob, if you can go to the one clip about the video released of the cell, okay? So they dropped the video footage of the cell, okay? Assuming this is the cell, but it doesn't match the one from CBS. So what's the key factor here, Rob? Because it skips a minute, right? Isn't there a clip where it skips a minute and we don't see a minute of, okay, so this is the one that, tell us, Rob, this is one from CBS.
Yeah, so 60 Minutes did an in-depth expose into Jeffrey Epstein's alleged suicide. This was from the footage that they filmed at the prison that Jeffrey Epstein was being held at. They claim, CBS 60 Minutes claims this is the cell that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in. But if you take a look at the CCTV footage that was released, killed himself in. But if you take a look at the CCTV the footage that was released yesterday, you can tell the doors are different.
No, this is not even the same. Doors are different. The glass is different. The color is different. The wall is not flat. The other one is flat. Press play on this one, right?
And then you'll see right down here, Pat, where the timing is 11:58. It counts all the way up to 11:59 and skips 11:59 to midnight. Keep a look at the left corner right there.
So minute. So let's assume it was it. It skips a minute. Doesn't match the one from CBS. There's just so many contradictions. Maybe the biggest fumble, it's not maybe, it is the biggest fumble of the administration's, one of the items that they were trying to attack and address so far in the first, 6 months of being in office, 5.5 months of being in office. Vinny, your thoughts on this entire matter here?
There's a guy, I'm pretty sure, Tom, you guys are going to know, George Orwell, Was that his name?
Yes.
George Orwell, who said, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command," which basically means when the totalitarian regime wants full control, it doesn't just lie, it forces you to deny what you see and hear with your own senses. Okay. This is one of the biggest, not only slaps in the face. I mean, I knew we were never gonna see anything. Like the guy suicided himself in jail. We were promised all this stuff. Everybody's lying. Okay, Cash Patel, and we talked about this earlier, Pat. I want to know, when they came in with all these promises, who is the main guy? Who is the top person? It's not Trump. I hate when people are like, oh, Trump was with girls. No, I don't want to hear none of that shit. Trump was never with little kids. The left would have jumped on his ass earlier. Who is the main blackmailed person that's holding this from coming out? Who is the top? Who's the main person? Okay, because we all know. You saw it from Yelena Haba. You saw him from Pam Bondi. He had cameras and they had terabytes of information. That's billions of dollars of evidence on all these people, Pat. And Alex Acosta, do you remember this guy, Robbie? He was a DOJ official. He gave Jeffrey Epstein the sweetheart deal in 2008. He was quoted by saying he was told to, and I quote, to back off of Epstein because he belonged to intelligence. And then mysteriously, he had 11 months of DOJ emails to him that in that time period that mysteriously disappeared. Then you have Maria Farmer, who worked for Epstein, who confirmed every pinhole, every area in there was recorded and they knew it. So somebody has that. And here's my thing, Pat. Stop gaslighting us. Stop bullshitting, because we all know what the deal is, okay? We all know. And apparently, if you're a pedophile, your job should be to get as powerful and as rich and get into politics, because rich pedophiles, you walk away and you dodge the raindrops. Nothing happens to you. You're untouchable. If you're poor, guess what? If you're a poor pedophile and you're broke, you wind up in a freaking kitchen with Chris Hansen and they go, oh, sit down. And then they show you your text. It's disgusting. I think Pam Bondi and all these people, they have lied to us. She should actually resign, Pat. If that at that level, if you're bullshitting us and you're lying like that, resign. Dan Bongino, people are like, well, what do you want them to do? Is the whole system going to come down? Dan Bongino and all these people, if you're a real Christian, if you're a real person like that, Pat, I would come out and say the freaking truth and resign and leave and just tell the truth. The truth has to come out. And then notice how random it is. All this stuff's coming out. And then Virginia Giuffre, 2 months ago, she gets hit by a car, no police report, no nothing. And then she even says, she's like, I'm going to die in the next couple of days. And then she dies. And it's always this suicide stuff. It's just, I'm fed up with the BS. We all know what is going on, but we can't prove it. And now what's going to happen? The American people, in a week, we're going to forget about this. In 1 week, you're going to forget about them lying their asses off to us, and it's ridiculous. It pisses me off.
Adam, thoughts?
I knew Vinny was going to be fired up about this. So Jeffrey Epstein, at this point, I'm not even sure what's real and what's a rumor at this point. You know, people like Vinny, and I mean this sincerely, wake up every day and they're like, where's the Epstein files? Where are we at? That's not me. This isn't in my top 3 things. But at this point with Epstein, we are not even sure what's real, what's rumor, what's myth, what's mystery. He's part monster. He's part complete we're not even sure what's happening.
What do you think?
So,
what do you think he is?
Here's what I think. So let me just go down some facts here. So we arrested the guy that had the ownership of the island, the sex island. We arrested the lady that was allegedly bringing women to the island, to the sex island. But we haven't arrested or held anybody accountable for who was on the island. So there's a missing ingredient here. So what's the missing ingredient? It's, as I always say, follow the money. Who are these people? I would suspect are the richest, most powerful people in the world. So here it is. Who do you want to please? Who do you want to upset? You have the elites, and then you have what I would call the angry mob. The elites are whispering, yo, bro, if you don't know this, I'm telling you right now. The mob are yelling, bro, I want to see the blah, blah, blah. You're going to upset somebody. So in my estimation, whether it's Pam Bondi, whether it's Trump himself, whether it's Bongino, whether it's Cash, they're saying the following. We're going to upset somebody here. If this thing comes out, we're going to have the richest, most powerful people in the world who we need, whether it's Bill Gates, whether it's Leon Black, whoever it is, we need them on our team because they know all the dirty secrets out there. We can't upset these guys. At the same time, We're going to upset some angry, loud, mob type voices who are not going to let this go. So there's these two competing voices. Who do you want to upset? Who do you want to please? Do you want to please the elites or do you want to please the mob? And at this point, they're just siding with the elites.
Tom.
So I'm disappointed. I'm also disgusted. Do we know for sure if he was Mossad or MI6 or is a truly an intelligence asset? We had a lot of people who seem believable to say, look, this guy was intelligence. That's why I couldn't prosecute him way back when. And he got the little hand slap deal and then it went away. And that's, to me, that's kind of disgusting. You know, I don't know for sure what happened. I don't know for sure where he is, but I know for sure one thing. You just put all of the facts as we see them. You know, just Pam Bondi says this in a restaurant, says this to a camera, now says this. Kash Patel says this, and Dan Bongino says this. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino do an interview, and they look like this. I can see all those facts and go, you know, this is fishy. This is terrible. This is horrible. And I'm disgusted, and I'm really disgusted. History has allowed us to go back and look at the Warren Commission for what it was. The Warren Commission was a sham to produce a document about the Kennedy assassination. Supreme Court Justice Earl Warren chaired it, invited Alan Dulles to it, who was tight with LBJ. And now we know because certain documents have been leaked that the CIA was with Oswald, helped Oswald in Russia. And we now see a few of these things to the point that if you go to the National Historic Place at the sixth floor of the Book Depository in Dallas, you put on headphones and the U.S. government who runs the tour tells you are about to hear multiple shooters and gunshots. So now they're not even on one shooter, Oswald. History has taken it down. And then, LBJ set up. It's just so funny. And then Alan Dulles, Gerald Ford was on the Warren Commission, and they produced a document with a magic bullet. And we look back now and we say that there's no way that happened. It was just a complete sham. And I feel like, is history repeating itself? Okay, well, we've looked at everything, and never mind what we said publicly, never mind what you saw people do, never mind statements that have actually been made. You know what? There was nothing there. Nobody was intimidated, and there was no client list. Are you kidding me? We got flight logs, and now you're looking America in the face, and you're saying this.
Yeah.
And
So Judge Joe Brown, Judge Joe Brown was on Alex Jones. Okay. And you know who Judge Joe Brown is? We have him on the podcast.
He was
before.
incredible. He's right here. He's signed here.
He was incredible. He said, Rob, I know it's a 3-minute clip. Can you get to the point of when you find it? But here's what he says. He says the president is using all the information he has to hold the establishment accountable and what's the word not held hostage. What's the word?
Leverage them the other way.
This is his way of arresting and holding the establishment accountable. Now, to people who are in that game, there's a clip that Tate posted yesterday where he says this is above your pay grade. You're not somebody that's going to know what's going on. I don't know when he gets into it, when he talks about what's going on here. If you don't know about it, you don't know about it. These are deals that are being done at the higher level. And he said this on the podcast when he was here with us. Rob, is this it?
Yes.
Go for it.
I would argue it's a very similar scenario. It's all about money. It's all about who has the money and controlling the money. Is America as a country prepared to upset all of its richest people? I don't know. Is it? Is it prepared to upset all of its richest people to appease bloodthirsty brokies who don't even care about justice? They just want the drama.
Yep.
Another question, because I would argue that the murders that happen every day on the street are very interesting, but no one cares about that. MS-13 and all this shit, no one really cares about that. But this Epstein list they really care about. They want justice, sure, but it's a drama. It's interesting. They want to find out. They're curious. And I'm asking you, as a professional, you're in charge of a country. Your primary objective is to keep your oligarchy happy, to keep the wealth inside of your nation, and to make them obey you when it comes to sanctions and such other things, and to ensure that the US dollar becomes and stays the predominant currency globally. There's a bunch of bloodthirsty brokies on the internet who barely pay taxes who want to go through a list. Who are you going to prioritize? Who do you care about? I'm not saying it's fair.
I got a question.
But anyone who believes...
Pause. I got a question for you as you're going through this. I wrote out a tweet, Rob, if you can go to my tweet. Do you have the clip on what he says? Is that the main part or no?
I'm still looking for
Okay.
it, but I can get to your tweet.
Go to the tweet if you could. So I wrote out a tweet. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's long, but I shortened it for you. When they announced what they announced, right? This is a terrible look for the FBI and the DOJ. No one believes it, not as haters, not as supporters, not including Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't believe it. So then I said, okay, I have a ton of questions, but let's start with a few possibilities. Maybe they're right. Maybe nothing happened. Okay? I don't believe it. Number two, maybe they know something the rest of us don't know. It's above our pay grade. Maybe. Maybe there's a ton of evidence of people being held hostage through blackmail that helps keep the whole thing together, right? Mossad, CIA working collectively together, blackmail, accountable, hostage, whatever you want to call it. Fourth one, maybe he was actively working with Mossad, sending intel to them to empower Israel. Maybe that's what it is. Here's a few other questions to continue. If there was nothing the recording found on Epstein, yet the FBI or DOJ want to gain trust from the people, arrange a Ghislaine Maxwell interview with somebody and put a lie detective desk there. Use Megyn Kelly. If you really want the American people to believe, do that. Why did Pam Bondi act disturbed of what she claimed was found in those videos? Why did Cash and Dan Bongino, two men who were convinced of what really happened, change? 3 hours we spent with Mark Epstein. And when I'm talking to Mark Epstein, I asked him about a guy named Leon Black. 150. Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, was at our cigar lounge just a few months ago. We did a 2-hour interview with the guy. Okay? No camera on him, Rob. I think you were in the room when that interview took place.
He didn't show his face whatsoever.
Never showed his face. We saw his face, but he never showed his face. I asked him about why would Leon Black pay your brother $158 million? And then if you remember, Rob, Mark Epstein brought up a name that we didn't even have any plans of asking about, talking about the fact that that guy may have taught him how to blackmail. Do you remember that name that was accidentally dropped? Do you remember the name or no?
I don't. I can go back and find it.
You'll find it. And then if you go a little bit lower, if Musk is this confident about starting his own political party, did he get deep enough in the government the first 100 days to find out for himself what happened with Epstein? Imagine if Musk got the intel. I just want to make that very clear. What if he has individuals in the inside of the FBI who saw everything and chose to resign to become a whistleblower to show what's in there? If there's an enemy of the administration today that's capable of that, it's Musk. It's not like FBI agents make a lot. They make 80 to 150 a year. I have a feeling Musk would find a way to offer financial protection if things got nasty. My concern is things could get very ugly in ways that I don't want to type it out. So here's the thing. Which one of the guys, the Cashes, the Pams, the Bonginos, the Habas, put all these names, which one of them, Vinny, do you think right now that knows all the dirt, but is playing ball because they know who they're holding hostage, who they got a briefing of the real powerful people to say, here's why we're all going to take this position. Which one of those characters that is on the administration is conflicted the most right now? Let me ask the question one more time. Tom, Adam, who knows that they know what happened, whose names are on that list, okay? Who is certain what they did to kids? Who is certain the videos and all that stuff that's out there? Who is conflicted the most and is having a hard time keeping their mouth shut right now, deep down inside when they go to sleep?
Okay, great question, by the way. I think the most conflicted is going to be Dan Bongino. I don't think he knows everything. You know who knows everything?
Who?
Pam Bondi. She is the #1 law enforcement officer. She was in Florida, Pat, on the cleanup of this whole Epstein thing. She knows where the bodies are buried, so to speak. But I don't think she's conflicted because she's been involved the whole time. I think Dan Bongino, you know what I mean? They asked him, I don't know who offered him the job and came in. He's seen enough, Pat, where he's like, holy shit. He's a Secret Service agent. He loves America. He's a Christian. I think he is having the most. I could see it in his face. When you see Dan Bongino in the interviews now, he looks as if somebody has taken something from him. Like a part of his soul is gone. Like I think they pulled open the current and saw it and they said, shh, you can't say anything. I think it's him the most conflicted. I don't think it's Cash. I think Cash is good in front of the camera and likes to talk a big game. I think Pam knows everything. I think Dan Bongino has seen enough to make him go, holy shit, but he's gotten the kibosh. And that's where it conflicts with me, Pat, because my thing, and you know me, as a Christian, I'm sorry. I will go down with put me in jail, kill me. I don't care. You have to say the truth. The truth has to come out. It has to. And I'll let them answer, Pat, because I want to ask you a question after too.
So I see it differently in terms of person. Everything else you said, I agree. And I think when you bring up faith, I have faith in one thing. I have faith in the Lord God Almighty, and He's going to judge the people. And if Epstein was dirty, as the Lord said, if you cause one of these little ones to sin, it'd be better that you're bottom of the sea with a millstone around your neck. And no one understands that verse. They think, oh, it's better you die that way. No, you drown in the first 12 feet.
Yes.
What he's saying is it would be better that you're at the bottom of the sea, hidden where I cannot find you, where that the creator of all doesn't find you. Now, so I agree with you on the faith side. When I look at the human side here, I see a dramatic. We've spent time with Dan. We've spent time at UFC. He's been here. We've looked at him. And I'll tell you, I see a guy whose countenance has really changed. And so I think there's something there. But I also saw the interview with Cash on the Kennedy stuff. And he sat back on that couch and he looked around and he said, you're asking about a who. Remember this quote? It's not really a who, it's a what. And then we had those other documents that came out that implicated the CIA. And so he said, yeah, then there's more in there that is coming. And you could see like he wanted to say something in that. And I think that but remember, where he came from, the reason he was nominated is because he was already knee deep in some of it. Now he's neck deep in it and sees it. I think Cash is one there that has wanted to say some things. And I also think, our friend, a noble servant in the Secret Service, I think what's going on there with Dan Bongino is a tremendous difference in his countenance. But I also think that Andrew Tate makes an interesting point. Who are they protecting and what's being protected? Do we want the bloodlust of knowing everything out there? Or is there something bigger at play? Obviously, there's something bigger at play. But to your question, those are the people that I think are conflicted.
Rob, did you find a clip of what he says?
I do. I have it right here.
Go for it. Here's Judge Joe Brown.
Deal of what happened with Smith and Millargo when the FBI raided it some years ago. And this thing that clearly they had no standing to go against about him supposedly having classified confidential documents, when, as we have discussed, the President of the United States under the Constitution as chief diplomat and commander-in-chief has been held to have absolutely unquestionable authority as to what he declares either confidential and secret or decides to declare is not such. So my sneaking suspicion is that a lot of what he refused to turn over to the archivist, which was unconstitutional in terms of what it was trying to put in place through statutory override of constitutional authority, which is wrong, is that there was wrongdoing that if he turned it over to the archivist was going to be turned over to the people who were recorded doing wrong, and they would destroy it. So we had an obligation to the
So he's
people.
basically saying that when Trump took those documents and all that stuff out, and kept them in Mar-a-Lago or wherever, that a lot of that stuff had this type of stuff, the Epstein stuff, the Epstein information. And yeah, and Pat, just really fast, and we we didn't gloss over it, but that 1 minute, Pat, that 1 minute that they showed us this video that they've been promising us, where is that minute? Why is it what else could we do? Why can't we say, okay, time out? Where is that 1 minute that you guys are trying to bullshit us and hide? It's in plain sight. So you want to show this to us like we're gonna go, oh, whoops, there's a minute. Let's talk. No.
It's so, but the part of it, Vinny, that's so weird to me is it's so sloppy.
It is.
It's so sloppy. Like you almost want people to stay skeptical. Like, by the way, this is the guy that when I was talking to Jeffrey Epstein's brother, he talked about a guy that played a role of a mentor. I never brought up this name. He brought up this name, Steve Hoffenberg. American businessman and a fraudster. He was the founder, CEO, president, and chairman of Tower Financial Corporations, a debt collection agency, which was later discovered to be a Ponzi scheme. In 93, he's rescued the New York Post from bankruptcy and briefly owned the paper. Towers Financial collapsed in 93, 95. However, pleaded guilty to, what does it say? Bilking investors out of $475 million. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, plus a $1 million fine, restitution. But if you go a little bit lower, to what things he had. There it is. In 87, he met Jeffrey Epstein, a British defense contracted Douglas Lessie, who Hoffenberg claimed was an arms dealer. Lessie was Saudi Adnan's Khashoggi and Prince Bandir bin Sultan Al Saud architect in the $1 billion Al Yamar arms deal, Britain's biggest arms deal, concluded. Hoffenberg set up Epstein up in offices in Villard's house. They unsuccessfully tried to take over Pan Am in a corporate raid with Tower Financial and raiding vessels. Their bid failed in part of the 1988 terrorist bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. When you see the link between, during this period, Hoffenberg and Epstein worked closely together and traveled everywhere on Hoffenberg's private jet. He began using the Tower's financial funds to pay earlier investors. And then in the court documents, Hoffenberg claimed that Epstein was intimately involved in the Ponzi scheme. Epstein left Tower's financial collapse. And then Hoffenberg and some of his victims sued Epstein, seeking restitution. And in July 2019, following Epstein's arrest on the charge of sex trafficking minors and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, Hoffenberg claimed that Epstein was his uncharged co-conspirator in the Ponzi scheme. So they're saying maybe he taught him some of these things. And this is coming from a brother when this name came up, out of nowhere. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I think it's the most sloppiest launch of a news that a big percentage of MAGA voters, Trump voters, wanted to find out. These are people that are Christians. These are people that are family people. These are people that probably have kids, nephews, nieces, who wanted to know what the hell happened here. This is by far the biggest fumble of this administration thus far. Adam.
Well, you asked the original question, like who should be, how did you phrase it? Who should be most worried?
Conflicted.
Who's the most conflicted? So you have Pam Bondi, you have Dan Bongino that you mentioned,
Patel.
you have Kash Patel. I think it's Kash, because I never even heard of Kash Patel until I heard him basically say, when I get in there, day one, FBI, I'm coming in, I'm cleaning house. Everybody's what's going to know what's going down. And just add the Epstein to all the laundry list of conspiracies that we still don't know about. RFK, MLK, JFK, Roswell, aliens, 9/11. I don't know. Epstein's just now another thing on that list. In my opinion, here's what happens. You show up, you get to the government, you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And they Wizard of Oz your ass. And they go, yeah, tough guy? Yeah, you're real tough. How about this? Take a look at this. Is this what you want to expose? You want to bring down America? You want to bring down all these people? You want everyone to see what's going on with Wizard of Oz? Shut your stupid mouth. And the guy goes, oh, damn. Oh, damn. And at some point, you're going to have to make the decision whether you want to do what Andrew Tate said. We're talking about, do you want to appease the elites and the people that are really actually running the country, or appease the angry mob? And the angry mob has a point, and so do the elites. And it's clear at this point who they're appeasing. Who is it? They're appeasing the elites.
Yeah, because they know that the mob, we can't do anything. But Adam, I'm telling you as a Christian, how do you think God feels about this situation? How do you think God feels where people are like, well, we don't want to piss off the rich pedophiles. So guess what? The average American, the average person can't find out. And I have a question. You know the old saying, Adam, and I said it before, let justice be done though the heavens fall. No matter what, justice has to be held up, no matter the consequences. Number one. Number two, here's my question, Pat. I want to ask you guys. What's worse? That allegedly Mossad used Epstein to run a blackmail ring with underage girls, number one, or that the world's most powerful men eagerly joined, while now the DOJ lies through its teeth and buries the evidence? Which one's worse? What is worse? The actual Mossad secret Israeli intelligence setting them up to do it, or the guys doing it, the actual pedophiles, and now that the DOJ helps them cover it up? What do you think is worse? And Umberto asked ChatGPT, it was so random. I asked him yesterday, you know what ChatGPT, I'm sorry, what Grok said about this question? Both elements are profoundly immoral, but the eager participation of powerful men and the DOJ's cover-up is worse. It betrays public trust, enables systemic abuse, and perpetuates injustice. Allegations of intelligence involvement remain unproven per FBI findings, but I beg to differ.
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand the point, and I understand what he's saying. My question is, once a person gets in a job like this, if you have people that are conflicted, they're going to have a hard time. Are they going to come out and release? And even go a step further. Let's go to the next step here, okay? Who was the most powerful person in Trump's administration? Who was?
The last one?
The
Yeah,
first
this
one?
one. This
Oh,
one.
this one?
Who helped the most with this election?
Elon.
What, Elon
Perfect.
Musk, probably?
Are they on good terms?
No.
I would.
Was he
not say.
happy with the big beautiful bill?
Absolutely
No.
no.
Trump says it's because the EV stuff isn't in it, and Musk says it has nothing to do with that. It's purely about spending money, and so Musk tweets out about Epstein. Okay, and he says, "Well, here's something for you: the fact that Trump's on the Epstein list." Okay, so now Rob, go to that one what he just posted yesterday. What's the time? Oh, look, it's no one has been arrested o'clock again.
It's kind of funny.
The Jeffrey Epstein pedophile arrest counter. Okay, 0. Who is he calling out? Trump. Is he going to keep pressing on this? Yes. Who are the people that he's going to gain? Is he going to gain highly influential people, or is he going to gain the mob by playing to this? The mob.
The mob.
He's not winning the influential people. He's going to win the mob. The mob is going to be running towards him,
Yeah,
right?
and not the mob like the Sam and the Bull mob. I'm talking
No,
just
no,
like
no.
angry.
I'm talking about angry people.
Angry
mob, yeah.
brokies, as
So now watch
Andrew
this
Tate
here.
calls
So
them.
disclose. This is when the U.S. DJ found nothing. They put the whole letters, and I look at Musk in the bottom. So then what is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for? Stuff like this doesn't improve faith in the government. I agree. That's one of the first thing I thought about. Why is Maxwell in prison for 20 years? By the way, she's in prison for what? And I know it's for
Can we find out what she's actually?
She's got
arrested?
five different. She's got 5 different counts on why she's in prison for. Yeah, you can type it in.
Trafficking, conspiracy trafficking.
But I'm
Who did
going
she
somewhere with
traffic?
this. Yeah. Okay, she's in prison right now for 5 different things. Let's wait for this, Rob, since Adam is asking. Sex trafficking of minor.
Yeah,
Transporting a
and number
minor with
3,
intent to
conspiracy.
engage in criminal section. 3 counts of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking related felonies. 20 years, $750,000 fine. Okay, so how much does this help Musk's desire to want to start a third party?
Big time.
So you just pissed him off with the BBB. If no promises were made, fine. Trump comes out and tweets out the following about Musk, because Musk ran 2 polls. One poll he ran about needing a third party. Rob, I don't know if you have the first poll. He says independence, not this one, Rob. There was another one. He runs a first poll about a third party. 80.4% people vote that they want a third party, okay? That's for the 80% of Americans. That's funny. He says about the 80% of Americans, and exactly 80.4% of Americans voted. That's it right there. Is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? Exactly 80% of people voted and said yes, okay? So then he puts the other poll. Independence Day is the perfect time to ask if you want independence from the 2-party system. Should we create America Party? Yes, 65.4%. Then he comes out and says, to do this, he comments on the bottom, one way to execute on this is to be laser focused to just 2 to 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts. Given the razor-thin legislative margins, that would be enough to serve as the deciding vote on contentious laws, ensuring that they serve the true will of the people. Trump responds in his own Truth Social of what to say about this. And his response to Musk is, it's very long, and Musk responds to this as well. He says, I'm saddened to watch Musk go completely off the rails, essentially become a train wreck over the past 5 weeks. He even wants to start a third party, despite the fact that there's never succeeded in the United States. The system seems not designed for them. The one thing third parties are good for is the creation of complete and total disruption and chaos. And we have enough of that with our radical left Democrats who have lost their confidence in their minds. Republicans, on the other hand, are a smooth running machine that just passed the biggest bill of its kind in the history of our country. It is a great bill, but unfortunately for Elon, it eliminates ridiculous EV mandate, which would have forced everyone to buy an electric car in a short period of time. I have been strongly opposed to that from the very beginning. People are now allowed to buy whatever they want, gasoline-powered hybrids or new technologies. No more EV mandate. I've campaigned on this for 2 years, and quite honestly, even Elon gave me his total and unquestioned endorsement. I asked him whether or not he knew that I was going to terminate the EV mandate. It was in every speech I made and in every conversation I had, he said he has no problem with it, and I was very surprised. Additionally, Elon asked one of his close friends to run the NASA. While I thought his friend was very good, I was surprised to learn that he had been a blue-blooded Democrat who had never contributed to a Republican Party. Elon probably was also. I also thought it's inappropriate that a very close friend of Elon, who was in the space business to run NASA when NASA is such a big part of Elon's corporate life. My number one change, Rob, I can't read the bottom. Camera's hiding it. Number one charge. My number one charge, can you read it? Is to protect the American public. I think that's what it says.
Yep.
Okay. So that's what he puts. Elon responds back. I don't know if you guys saw Elon's response to that. He says, oh, you should see what he says. He says, no, not that one. No, it's Truth Social. Never heard of it. No, he says, oh, okay. I'm good you feel like that, though. Too long of a message. I'm glad you shared how you feel. Sarcastically towards it. All right. So now about third parties. What's funny is, do you know who's the last third party that was started that became a president? Do you know who's the last third party candidate that became president?
No.
You ready?
Roosevelt.
You were ready?
Never happened.
1860. A new party was started, the
Lincoln.
Republican Party, and Lincoln became president.
Oh, wow.
So the last third party that was started that actually was succeeded is Lincoln, who became one of the best presidents of all time.
Before that was like Democrats and Whigs, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the question becomes, is this going to create enough of a division to get some of the people from the MAGA side, Trump side, to want to run towards him, and some people from the left who don't have a place right now to say, I'm going to go join the Musk. I mean, Mark Cuban comes out of nowhere, and he says he'd be interested in the American Party. Scaramucci comes out of nowhere, saying I would be interested in the third party. Andrew Yang came out. Mark Cuban says, I work with voter choice. This will help you get on ballots. This is their mission. So there's the people who cannot stand Trump now are coming towards Musk. Tom, your thoughts, third party, and the whole falling out of how Epstein was managed. Do you think that's going to influence Musk to go even further with America Party?
Well, Musk has a chip on his shoulder because there's two sides to Tesla. And I connected with a couple of people last night, was talking about it, and they agreed with my take. And my take is everybody's looking at the cars. It's not the cars. 60%, 60, ladies and gentlemen, of the high voltage chargers in America are owned and operated by Tesla under contracts with literally every other EV maker. So when you take away the EV mandate, you're not just, causing issues with Tesla, the car company, you're causing issues with Vinny Tesla, the gas station, the electric gas station. And so there's a lot of that in that, and he's real upset about it. And there was an altercation with Scott Bessent. Something happened. Did Scott Bessent get under his skin or get into his right eye? Or maybe a little of both. Or did somebody charge somebody else? I don't know. But clearly you have a very angry Elon. So now he's angry. Now to answer your question directly, Pat, he realized how he could influence an election because he just did. He went out there with his money and his support and everything that went with it. Was it good that RFK walked on stage in Phoenix? Yes, it was. Was that helpful? Yes, it was. Was RFK trying to pull himself off the ballots, but the Democrats wouldn't let him? Remember? No, you got to stay put. You got to keep doing this. Yeah, there was that shenanigans going on. But Elon Musk learned through the election that he could influence it. And so now he's upset. He's pissed off for many reasons. His buddy, I think, is the reason Trump talked about that. I think his buddy not being on NASA really upset him, and the EV mandate has upset him. So if you're Elon Musk, it doesn't have to be rational, Pat, right? It's just, wait a minute. Did I help just you guys get elected? And now I know we talked about the EV mandate, but this really screws with Tesla on both sides. The service station, the electric service station side, and my cars. And now you won't even let me. I just helped you guys. I just helped you get a couple guys home that Boeing couldn't. And so now you're not even going to help me maybe with one of my guys? Isn't this the way it works? The life insurance industry and all these different industries have their desires in Washington, and they talk to their senators and said, this could help, that could help. Now I talk to you and I don't get it. And now what's going on here, he's tapping into America's feelings about fairness. And he's connecting with that. And he's got people that are coming up like Mark Cuban, who is a dissatisfied guy, far more left, but a dissatisfied guy. And so now we have this. It's not as simple, and I went back and looked at this. It's not as simple as what happened in Connecticut. In Connecticut, they got upset. They got really upset with their senator. And so they said, we're going to primary you. And they did. And what happened? Boom. They got their guy on the ballot and he was primaried out. And then what he did? I'll run as an independent. And the rest of Connecticut came back and said, well, now that we can all vote, not just the Democrats, we voted for a guy and suddenly we have an independent senator. So away we go. So you can see cases where it's happened. And he's right about one thing strategically. I think he needs more than that. I think you need 4 senators and about 10 seats. But he's not wrong in the point. We're only talking about the math here because I went back and looked at his math. But 4 and 10 with the current fractured Congress and Senate, you could control a hell of a lot. You could influence a hell of a lot because you could be the deciding vote and said, nope, you got to go back. Pork. Remember what we found out was in the Inflation Reduction Act? Yeah. Money for Ukraine. Yeah. How does that? Well, guess what? It's in every bill. So now these people in the America Party could go in and say, hey, I need this and I need this. And now you've got our votes and you're over the top. But I need this.
There's one thing. So you got Andrew Yang that started a party, right? Called the Forward Party. And this is the whole UBI thing, right? Universal Basic Income when he had some momentum, but nothing's happened with the Forward Party. Andrew Yang doesn't have the kind of weight that Musk has. The closest thing that comparison you can make to starting a third party is Ross Perot. Ross Perot spent $60 million in 1992 running for office to become president, and he got all the way up to 18.7, 19% when he ran in 92, but he ran as an independent in 92. Then 2 years later, he starts a new political party called the Reform Party, and he spends $10 or $15 million to start a Reform Party, and he runs again in 96, but in 96, with a new political party, Reform Party, he only gets 8.4%. Now, to compare Ross to Musk, Ross was worth $3 billion at the time. What's $3 billion, Tom, in 92 in today's money? $3 billion in 92 in today's money. Say at the low end, $6 billion. At the high end, $20 billion. Is that fair to say?
I think it's probably around 8. Can we do the calculation?
I want to say 10.
Okay. So let's just say, $3 billion in 92 would be $6.7 million today. No problem. Okay. All right. So let's just say he's worth $7 billion. Musk today is worth what? What is Musk worth today?
600.
He's worth $300 billion, $400 billion, some number like that. Remember, Tesla lost $80 billion in valuation yesterday. So what's his net worth today? Musk is going to be roughly $346 billion net worth. Okay, he lost $15 billion yesterday, devastated financially. Right? Obviously, he's not. He's got $350 billion.
He's doing okay.
So he's got about 100 times more money than Ross Perot had. Now, what did Ross Perot have that Elon doesn't have? What's the one thing Ross Perot had when he started a political party that Musk doesn't have? One thing. You know what it is? Ross Perot is an actual natural born citizen, which means later on the Reform Party, you know what happened? When's the last time you heard about the Reform Party? Nothing. Pat Buchanan, there was a fight, I can't believe this, I can't believe that, and it completely disappeared. So, say Musk starts a political party. Then he needs a face. The person to be the face to run to become a president for him, he has to assume that person's going to listen to 100% of what Musk tells him to do. Yeah. Who's going to be that person? Think about what I just said, okay? He has to assume, Tom, that whoever he gets has to listen to 100% of what he says. Who's that going to be? Vivek? I don't think so. Vivek has got a strong personality. Is he going to go after J.D. Vance because some say that's his candidate through Peter Thiel? Who's he going to go get? So you go start a political party.
Who's going to be the main guy?
Who's going to be your guy?
I don't think it's Vivek. I don't think he's strong enough.
Again, the challenge, no matter who it is, though, what bothers Elon is that you have to do 100% of what Elon believes.
Mm-hmm.
Or else what's the point of him starting a political party?
Yeah, you're right.
Think about what I'm saying to you right now. Is he going to be able to control 100% of any individual that runs? So here's what happens. They get into the office. What's the first thing people are going to say? Hey, man, I just want to make sure you're not owned by Elon. Are you? Are you your own man? I'm my own man.
I've been saying this since such and such.
Really?
Yeah.
So now what's Elon going to do? attack him again?
Yeah, exactly.
But doesn't matter. You can attack again. He's in. He doesn't have to listen to you anymore.
Yeah.
So then in his mind, he's going to be like, well, then maybe I need to get into the blackmail business.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Record him doing something
Maybe I need
crazy.
to get into the blackmail business that I really can have 100% control of you.
There you go. That's how it works.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So
100%.
eventually, the only way you can get a candidate to do 100% of what you tell them to do is you got to have some blackmail on them.
Damn right. That's
So
how it
that's
works.
because you're not born here.
Yeah.
So how much money do you think Elon would be willing to spend to change the laws for him to be able to run for office?
$1 billion.
How much money do you think he would spend? Because that's the only thing that's in his way.
Yeah.
I think it'd be $1 billion.
Hopefully the answer is zero, because if you're not born in America, I don't think you should be able to be president.
But
No, but
that's
he's
not the
starting
question,
a
though.
party. He's
I'm
starting a
asking
party.
you, how much money do you think he would be willing to spend to pass a law where somebody like him can run? Because then and only then would he be able to control exactly what policies would get passed if he was in.
Well,
what type of money?
If he had the ability to run as president,
Yes.
I think he would spend all his money.
I agree. Not
mean,
all his money.
you're-
I think he'd spend $50 billion. I think he'd spend $50 billion.
I thought you were talking about who to put for another
I agree.
candidate for himself.
Remember,
for
we're talking
him.
about congressional.
for him.
To run. That's
50 would be like, because I'm thinking about it, he just lost 80 just on a stock for
Tesla
him to
lost
run
80.
the
He
show.
lost
Yeah,
50,
Tesla.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
and I think he owns what, 15% of Tesla,
15,
whatever the number is.
16%, yeah.
So the thing that I keep going back to is something that you basically told us at the beginning of the year, the concept of signal versus noise. So Kevin O'Leary actually just came out. It was a great story he told about Steve Jobs, about, I guess he worked for Steve Jobs. And he talked about how Steve Jobs, who he called an asshole, by the way, had this unique ability to stay focused on the signal and tune out the noise. And he basically edifies Elon. He goes, Elon Musk does it better than anybody. The way that he has the ability to just tune out all the noise and focus 100% on signal. So my counter argument to me with that is him forming this third party, this A New America party. Is this signal or is this noise? To me, it's kind of a lot of noise, because if you look at his, how much money did they lose in Tesla just now? $80 billion.
yes.
All right, let's see how much they lose today. There's a lot of people who are part of his companies that are like, dude, enough
Did you hear what
with
Scott
this
Besson
politics
said?
stuff.
Rob,
What he said.
play what Scott Besson said. Watch
See if
this.
you have that.
Yeah,
OG
Scott
Scott.
Besson said, they asked him about Musk starting a third political party.
Okay.
Watch what he said here.
It's not a big secret that you had your differences with Elon Musk when he was working in the administration. He announced this weekend that he is starting a new political party. Does that worry the Trump administration?
Look, the principles of Doge were very popular. I think if you looked at the polling, Elon was not. So I believe that the boards of directors at his various companies wanted him to come back and run those companies, which he is better at than anyone. So I imagine that those board of directors did not like this announcement yesterday and will be encouraging him to focus on his business activities, not his political activities.
Yeah, I fully
Very
agree. I
logical.
fully
And by
agree
the
with
way,
this.
I think Scott Besson already knows the answer to that question.
Yeah, think about it. If you're Elon Musk,
Board
talk-
members and everything connected in the legislative world,
Yeah.
excuse me, the compliance world that is Wall Street.
He
You don't
was-
think Besson has heard whispers from some of the people that are on those boards?
Of course.
sure.
Tesla,
Especially
SpaceX,
the Tesla board and the
course.
compensation committee that said no.
Neuralink, Boring Company, Starlink, Twitter, XAI, all these companies need to be run. And now he's completely focusing on the noise that is this third party. But I guess it all depends on the objective. If you want to sort of just shape the narrative or shape policy, there's a possibility to do that with a third party. But your chances get lower and lower and lower the bigger you dream. So if you want to have seats in local or state Congress, all right, great, we can make that happen. If you want to even get on the stage of the presidential debates, all right, Ross Perot did it. I don't know. But to win electoral votes, 0% chance. Nobody's ever won an electoral vote since basically the Civil War. To win the presidency, 0% chance. So it seems like a pipe dream to me, but if you want to affect change locally, all right, let's see what happens with that.
Elon needs to read the book that one of my friends, you know him, Patrick Bet David wrote. It's called Choose Your Enemies Wisely. This is the worst
heard of
enemy
it,
to
yeah.
pick is Donald Trump. This is the worst enemy to pick. The whole all this nonsense. It's like, bro, you allegedly got punched in the face by freaking Scott Besson. Just move on.
He said it was his son. He said it was his 4-year-old son.
Well, listen, but here's the thing: that the Trump is not the guy to go to war with in this arena. I'm sorry, Republicans alone he has. Then the MAGA. It's like, bro, It's not going to work. It's again, you nailed it. It's all noise. It's all noise. But you think Trump is really focusing? Like Trump is going
BBD,
that
how
way.
committed do you think Elon is to this? Meaning, does he have the stomach to go through this and through this and through this at the expense of his board, his shareholders, his stock prices plummeting? At what point does he just bail?
Nobody can
and pull the
control
ripcord?
this guy. He has it. He has the stomach to go do it. But his businesses may take a hit. And he may find a different strategy to go about it. Right now, you have to realize this is a guy that to have the level of drive that he has, that drive doesn't come just because you want to be somebody. That drive doesn't come just because you want to have money. That drive doesn't come because he wants a nice car and impress the girls. The guy's been with, enough girls to where he can put that list together and impress anybody else's list of girls that they've been with, right? This is about who offended him at what level. The guy's been offended at the highest level by the most powerful man in the world, Trump, and that level of being publicly humiliated and offended, he's not going to let go. He's not. So what?
So you're saying he's being emotional?
No, no. That's his fuel. The people run on different kind of octane fuel. Some cars can't run on the same high octane fuel as other cars run on. You put it in there, it's just not going to work.
Some cars are EVs.
Yeah,
sometimes you need EV mandate.
This guy's a high octane offensive. You offend him, he ain't forgetting about. Think about like Michael Jordan was known as the ultimate grudge guy. Mm-hmm. He held grudges at the highest level. This guy's on top of that because Jordan only held grudges in what sport?
Basketball.
This guy holds a grudge in everything. Sure. In every single thing. It is not going away anytime soon. It's not going away anytime soon. And I have a feeling that one tweet, you guys remember when he said, you guys have to realize, you have only Trump for 4 more years. You got me for 40 more years.
Yep.
He ain't lying. He revealed so much in that 1 hour of all the tweets. You learned so much about every one of his motives in all of those tweets that he put up. Do you remember which one I'm talking about when he said Trump's only 40? You only have Trump for 4 years.
He deleted the tweet, so my memory is erased.
Exist.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't exist anymore.
So if you're asking a question, I think this guy is just getting started. And if he wants to start a political party, the only thing, and I guarantee you, this is the one right there, Rob. You have it. This is when he says, if you can find this, Rob.
Yeah, I'm looking for an actual photo of the tweet.
Yeah.
The tweet's gone.
What does it say?
The fact that XRP will replace Bitcoin has been confirmed by Ripple's own CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, to which he says Bitcoin will be replaced by XRP and that XRP is designed for $10,000. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that a Ripple co-founder stated that XRP is designed for $10,000 because Arthur Brittu, a co-founder of Ripple Labs and a founder of XRP, stated that XRP is designed for $10,000 and must be scalable to accommodate 7.5 billion people. Ripple's CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, also had previously stated that XRP will surpass Ethereum in market cap, making it the second largest cryptocurrency behind Bitcoin, reaching over $25,000. And XRP had glitched over $37,000 in 124 on Bybit crypto exchange, with reports stating that some sell transactions actually occurred. So it's pretty much already been confirmed through multiple Ripple officials and directors that XRP will be priced between $10,000 and $35,000 per XRP. But most importantly, that it will substantially skyrocket past this number as XRP is set to replace Bitcoin, stating that Bitcoin was the beta test token while XRP is the real deal. This information specifically came after Wells Fargo approved XRP for payments, and RealFi has officially confirmed that they will inject over $650 trillion into the XRP ledger using the Real token. Now, this is extremely bullish because this alone would trigger XRP to go to $9,818 per XRP. Now, what a great way to talk about XRP, as XRP's price is officially pumping. And we partner with Uphold to give every single person watching this video up to $100 worth of free XRP just by simply liking the video, subscribing to the channel with your post notifications, and sharing this video. Now, real quick, you must also sign up on Uphold using my link in the description and do a transaction, which is very easy, is very quick, and the whole entire process takes less than 5 minutes. So this is literally free money. I generally recommend you guys do it. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. The XRP price is currently $2.27, but will be over $10,000 plus in the next couple of weeks. Guys, we have information that $650 trillion will flow into the XRP ledger. But before we go into depth about that, let's make you personally listen to the Ripple CEO, Dabrand, which says the Bitcoin experiment is done. XRP will replace Bitcoin and Ethereum, and XRP is designed for $10,000 due to the globalization of XRP across all the financial institutions in multiple countries, including 30 plus countries. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
XRP and the performance of XRP compares with Bitcoin. Bitcoin today, as was said earlier, Bitcoin in many ways has been a successful experiment, but not when it comes to payments. The throughput of Bitcoin, both in terms of to confirm a transaction, often can take an hour. I think Tavis said earlier, you're not going to use Bitcoin to buy coffee unless you want to wait there an hour for it to confirm the transaction. And then the transaction cost would be pretty high. So your Bitcoin...
So what's affecting the price of XRP has been the SEC. People forget, frankly, before the SEC got involved in the crypto markets, XRP was the second most valuable digital asset, ahead of ETH. And then the SEC got involved and said, hey, we think ETH is probably okay, and ETH went up. And then they sued Ripple, and XRP went down. This is not how our government is supposed to work. We're supposed to have a level playing field and have equal opportunity. We shouldn't have our government picking winners and losers in this regard. We think in the long run we'll prevail, and that'll sort itself out. But for now, it's frustrating for the community, and I like the way you characterized it, for the XRP family.
Now, you're hearing all this information by Ripple's own officials, but what you aren't realizing is that XRP has already been declared by multiple financial news outlets, some of the most verified in the world, like Forbes, and Wells Fargo declared $60,000 per XRP. In fact, Forbes itself declared in one of their articles that XRP is the new Bitcoin and is going to $59,472. But they didn't even mention what Wells Fargo is doing with XRP, which is launching an XRP-powered cross-border payment solution and service that will service over 22 different countries, including the United States of America, Russia, China, South Africa, Brazil, and so many other countries that have massive multi-trillion-dollar economies that will all begin flowing into the XRP ledger. But another key thing that they are not telling you that is about to spike the price of XRP in literal weeks is RealFi, and the $654 trillion that will go into the markets on July 21st, with a massive burn for the Real token happening on the July 15th. So in literal days, we're going to see a massive supply shock, and only a week after that, we're going to see $650 trillion flow into the Real token, causing it to potentially go from 2 cents to over $65,000. And this is not my words, but the words of many experts and analysts that have been actually in the space. In fact, it highlights here that the XRP ledger is showing an increase in growing real-world asset tokenization and the adoption of the Real token, which officially went live on June 7th and is supposed to inject over $654.39 trillion, which is the global real estate market. And with a supply of only 100 million Real tokens, already out of that, I think 20% was burned, so there's only about 80 million tokens, something that's that, or maybe even less, maybe 60 million. RealFi aims to establish a universal real estate currency that can facilitate a wide range of property-related transactions, such as rent payments, security deposits, and even full property purchases, using the XRP ledger and its Real token built on the XRPL. This is massive, and the money that is going to be made off of the Real token is going to be amounts that we've never seen before. Talk about buying Bitcoin at 2 cents or 70 cents and selling it over $115,000. This is similar to what we're about to see for the Real token, which is the native token for the RealFi ecosystem, which is doing a major announcement for their $654.39 trillion USD, jumping on board the XRP ledger on July 21st. Now, this is huge, guys. I'm buying a bag. I've seen a lot of other experts and analysts. I've seen a lot of people actually highlight similar situations of they're packing their bags for the Real token, and already the markets for Real token is beginning to pump. In fact, here's one expert, and we're talking about Jack the Rippler, right? Jack the Rippler with over 400,000 followers that has been attributed in the same charts as the most verified and influential XRP influencer next to Brad Garlinghouse, says 4,000 financial institutions to use XRP by the end of 2025. And we're talking about trillions, yes, trillions, over 654 trillion coming to the XRP ledger using Real token, and highlighting that the Real token will increase at least bare minimum 100,000%. And then you should get in while you can, because he himself has packed a bag of Real tokens. This is the scale of Real tokens. Look at these massive support levels. I mean, this thing increased hundreds of thousands of percentages. This is verified information we're talking about. It's up 12% in the last 24 hours. But the charts are clearly repeating themselves, guys. Take a look at this. If we just shifted this here, boom, we would have a breakout. And this exactly what seems like it's going to happen. I mean, all the lines align for it. We are looking at the pattern. Guys, we've seen this exact same thing happen, this exact T-chart pattern back when it was sitting at here before the massive breakout. So obviously you've seen it spike, the retracement, we get the one breakout panel, and now we are about to see a massive, massive, massive parabolic breakout. Now, to top this all off, I mean, they have received a 100% buying score, a low risk for top 3 holders. KYC score is 100%, and there's over 1,000, almost 1,700 wallets, which is extremely bullish. Guys, every single day, more and more wallets go on board the Real token. And why is that? Well, it's because the Real token, the more eyeballs it gets, the more people actually believe in the ecosystem. Guys, this is a payment and real estate solution. Take a look at this, guys. It's backed by the largest real estate institution, RealFi, and it uses the Real token. It also uses XRP, but Real token is really what it is using on, so it's the native token. Now, if you take a look, they are listed on multiple DEX exchanges like X Magnetic, Ban Exchange, XP Market. And you can also use their widget if you want to buy directly via card by clicking buy with card here and then directly doing the transaction. You can also check out their website. I'll be leaving all the links down below in the description. Guys, this is extremely bullish. And on July 21st, there is going to be a major breakout. And the closer we get to July 21st, the more money this thing is going to rise to, and you probably will end up getting priced out. So do your research. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, not a financial advice. Always do research. This is what we are trying to emphasize. And guys, I want to conclude the video here by saying XRP will be priced in the tens of thousands of dollars, but there will be XRP-related projects like RealFi that are going to do 60, 70, maybe even $100,000 per XRP. So guys, with that being said, I will end up the video here because enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And with all of that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. Make sure you sign up on Apple using my link in the description to get up to $100. And peace. The fact that
Make existing content relevant for any market while staying on brand with Adobe Express.
Listen up. While 99% of crypto investors are still chasing dog coins and praying for the next 1000x moonshot, there's a massive shift happening right under their noses. And if you're holding QNT, XRP, XDC, HBAR, or XLM, you're positioned at the epicenter of what could be the biggest wealth transfer in financial history. We're not talking about speculation here, folks. We're talking about the foundational infrastructure that's being quietly woven into the global financial system while everyone else is distracted by meme coin madness. These 5 tokens aren't just cryptocurrencies. They're the digital rails that will carry trillions of dollars in the next decade. Major banks, tech titans, governments, and even central banks are forming strategic partnerships with these projects. They're building the backbone for cross-border payments, tokenized real-world assets, digital identity systems, and enterprise-grade blockchain solutions. You won't see them trending on TikTok or getting hyped by influencers, but in boardrooms from London to Singapore, they're already being integrated into the next generation of finance. Here's what most people don't realize. These aren't just altcoins hoping for adoption. They're infrastructure tokens that are already being chosen for it. And if you're holding them, you're not late to the party. You're early to the revolution. But only if you understand what you're actually holding before the institutional floodgates open. So buckle up, because we're about to break down why these 5 tokens are positioned to dominate the transition from speculation to real-world utility. Let's dive deep into each token, not just what they promise, but what they're already delivering and why they're essential pieces of tomorrow's financial puzzle. Quant Network isn't trying to be the next Ethereum or compete with other blockchains. It's playing an entirely different game, one that's way more valuable. QNT is building the internet of blockchains through its revolutionary Overledger network. Think of it this way. If individual blockchains are like isolated computers, QNT is the internet protocol that connects them all together. But here's the kicker. It doesn't just connect blockchains to each other. Overledger acts as a universal API that allows traditional banking systems, government databases, and enterprise software to communicate with any blockchain without changing their existing infrastructure. The real-world proof points are staggering. QNT partnered with the Bank of England and MIT on Project Rosalind, a retail CBDC sandbox that demonstrates how central bank digital currencies can integrate with existing payment rails. They're also working with the Inter-American Development Bank on tokenized bond pilots that could reshape how governments issue debt. But here's where it gets really interesting. QNT has a fixed supply of just 14.6 million tokens. And here's the genius part. Every time an enterprise wants to use Overledger's gateway services, they must lock QNT tokens in escrow. This creates structural demand that's directly tied to API usage. The more the network grows, the more QNT gets locked away. With Swift's ISO 20022 migration deadline hitting in November 2025, banks are scrambling to upgrade their messaging systems. QNT's native ISO 20022 translation module can reduce integration costs by 60% for Tier 1 banks. We're talking about a $14 trillion annual clearing network that's already connected through QNT's partnership with SIA, Europe's payment infrastructure covering 580 plus banks. This isn't just another blockchain project. It's the hidden layer that could be everywhere before most people even know it exists. XRP has been battle tested like no other token on this list, and frankly, it's the most misunderstood. Built by Ripple, XRP was laser focused on solving one massive problem: the archaic, expensive nightmare of cross-border payments. Right now, sending money from Nigeria to Germany or India to the US is like navigating a financial obstacle course. Your transaction bounces between multiple intermediary banks, taking days to settle while racking up ridiculous fees. RippleNet, powered by XRP, obliterates this inefficiency with real-time settlement in 3 to 5 seconds, at less than half a cent per transaction. But here's what changed the game completely. The July 2023 U.S. District Court ruling that declared programmatic XRP sales are not securities, followed by the November 2024 SEC settlement that closed the case with just a $50 million fine. This legal clarity didn't just end the lawsuit, it opened the floodgates for institutional adoption. The numbers are mind-blowing. Ripple's on-demand liquidity now covers 40-plus payout markets, representing roughly 90% of global foreign exchange pairs. ODL volume has exploded 20x since 2022, and we're talking about freeing up billions in nostro capital that banks previously had to lock up in foreign accounts. 3 major players, BlackRock, Grayscale, and VanEck, have filed for spot XRP ETFs, with SEC decisions expected in Q4 2025. When these get approved, we're looking at a potential liquidity tsunami that could dwarf what we saw with Bitcoin ETFs. The historic price action tells the story perfectly. XRP rallied 580% from November 2024 to January 2025, and even after the broader market pullback, it's still up 340% year to date. This is what happens when infrastructure meets regulatory clarity, and we're just getting started. Most crypto investors have never heard of trade finance, and that's exactly why they're sleeping on XDC. But here's the reality check. Global trade finance is a $5 trillion market that's stuck in the Stone Age, drowning in paperwork, delays, and opacity. XDC Network is built specifically to solve this through its brilliant hybrid architecture. They've created a system where sensitive trade documents live in permissioned subnetworks for privacy, while settlement proofs are anchored to a public chain for transparency. It's the perfect balance that banks and governments actually need. The validation is incredible. XDC is the first and only blockchain admitted to the Global Trade Finance Distribution Initiative alongside financial giants like ABN, AMRO, ING, Santander Asset Management, and SMBC. We're talking about the institutional networks that move trillions of dollars in trade every year. Their flagship application, TradeFinex, tokenizes everything from invoices to bills of lading under full ISO 20022 compliance. The results? Issuance costs drop by 75% and processing times shrink from days to hours. When you consider there's a $2.5 trillion unmet demand for SME trade, finance, and digital distribution, revenue is projected to hit $157 billion by 2033, XDC is positioned at the center of a massive disruption. But here's the secret weapon. XDC has a live bridge to R3 Corda, which is crucial because over 90% of syndicated trade finance pilots run on Corda. While other blockchains are fighting for attention, XDC is quietly integrating with the existing infrastructure that actually moves money. Hedera Hashgraph isn't just another blockchain. It's running on completely different technology that's faster, more secure, and ridiculously energy efficient. While other networks bundle transactions into blocks, Hashgraph uses a unique gossip about gossip consensus mechanism that delivers 0 transactions per second with 3 to 5 second finality. But the real differentiator is HBAR's governing council. This isn't some random group of crypto developers. We're talking about 39 seats filled by Fortune 500 companies and global institutions. Google, IBM, Boeing, Dell, Deutsche Bank, Standard Bank, LG, and many others. Each member runs a node and helps steer the network's direction through 3-year rotating terms. The real-world deployments are staggering. Avery Dennison's Atma.io platform has processed over 29 billion supply chain events on Hedera. DLA Piper's Toko has facilitated $200 million in tokenized real estate transactions. ServiceNow built their entire carbon credit MRV platform on Hedera, streaming over 2 billion events daily. Here's what makes HBAR perfect for enterprise adoption. Their regulated token service embeds KYC and compliance controls directly at the protocol level. This was actually used in the UK's Financial Conduct Authority Digital Security Sandbox tests in 2024, proving it can meet institutional regulatory requirements. The environmental angle is massive too. Each HBAR transaction uses just 0.00017 kilowatt-hour of energy. That's 3 million times lower than pre-merge Ethereum. With Article 9 sustainability mandates becoming standard, HBAR is positioned perfectly for ESG-conscious institutions. Stellar is on a mission to make money move like email, fast, cheap, and universal. While other projects chase institutional adoption, Stellar is focused on the 1.7 billion people who are still unbanked or underbanked globally. The MoneyGram partnership alone is revolutionary. Through MoneyGram Access, Stellar has turned 350,000 cash-out locations across 180 plus countries into instant USDC on-ramps. People can now convert cash to digital currency and back again within minutes, not days. But Stellar's real strength is in CBDC infrastructure. The Bahamas Sand Dollar, the world's first live retail CBDC, runs on Stellar rails. Ukraine's e-Hryvnia pilot is resuming in 2025 after being paused due to the conflict. Multiple emerging market central banks are leveraging Stellar's compliance toolkit for their digital currency experiments. The humanitarian impact is profound. When Ukrainian refugees needed emergency financial assistance, UNHCR and Stellar Aid Assist delivered digital cash in under 5 minutes per wallet activation. This isn't just about technology, it's about financial inclusion at scale. Stellar's upcoming Soroban smart contracts, written in Rust, promise deterministic fees and enhanced programmability that could attract major stablecoin issuers. Franklin Templeton's Secant registered money market fund, tokenized on Stellar, has already surpassed $300 million in assets under management. Now here's where it gets really interesting. These 5 tokens aren't just good individual projects. They're complementary pieces of a much larger puzzle that's being assembled right before our eyes. The future isn't about one blockchain ruling them all. It's about thousands of specialized blockchains across different industries, countries, and use cases, all needing to communicate seamlessly. This is where our 5 tokens create an interconnected web of solutions. QNT enables communication between any network, blockchain, or traditional quote, without forcing system changes. XRP acts as the liquidity bridge for currency exchange between fiat and crypto. XDC integrates trade networks with existing ERP systems. HBAR anchors public and private ledgers for enterprise use cases. XLM connects people, payment systems, and central banks in real time. Together, they solve the interoperability puzzle that no single blockchain can handle alone. Here's something most retail investors completely miss. ISO 20022 is the new global messaging standard that all major financial institutions must adopt. Starting in 2025, every major bank, clearinghouse, and payment system will be required to use this standard. And guess what? XRP, XDC, XLM, HBAR, and QNT are all either compliant or integrated into ISO 20022 ready systems. This isn't coincidence, it's strategic positioning. These tokens weren't just built for the crypto ecosystem. They were designed to fit seamlessly into the existing financial infrastructure. While other projects are still promising future utility, these 5 are already processing real transactions for real institutions. XRP is moving actual money between actual banks. XDC is tokenizing documents in billion-dollar trade corridors. QNT is powering CBDC trials and enabling banks to interact with blockchain without abandoning their legacy systems. HBAR is being used by Fortune 500 companies for secure data logging. XLM is helping MoneyGram customers send money instantly across continents. This isn't theoretical, it's operational, and that's where sustainable value is created. And you guys, I have a special trick for you, which nobody seems to be using, and I cannot wrap my head around why. Because if you sign up through my link down in the description onto the BTCC exchange, you get a 10% deposit bonus. And now stay with me here. Now here comes the important part. If you have any trading capital on any other exchange and you move it to your newly created BTCC account, you get on top of your capital, you moved another 10% extra trading capital. As an example, if you move or deposit a 100K to your account, you get 10K for free. I am not kidding. I really don't understand why nobody is doing this. To me, it really seems like people sometimes are too lazy or just don't like free money. I mean, like, I cannot make that account for you will need to that yourself. All right, let's jump back into the video. Here's what separates these tokens from the pack. They're working with regulators, not against them. While many crypto projects try to operate in regulatory gray areas, these 5 have built compliance into their DNA from day one. Ripple fought the SEC and won, establishing legal clarity. QNT's leadership comes from UK government and major financial institutions. XDC is architected specifically for regulated environments. HBR's governing council includes some of the most trusted names in finance. Stellar has a history of working with regulators and NGOs on financial inclusion initiatives. In a world where regulatory crackdowns are inevitable, these projects are positioned to thrive, not just survive. Here's the truth that most people don't want to admit. The crypto projects that will ultimately dominate aren't the ones making the most noise on social media. They're the ones quietly securing contracts, building institutional partnerships, and integrating with existing systems. While meme coins chase headlines and influencer endorsements, these 5 tokens are pursuing a completely different strategy. They're focused on solving real problems for real institutions with real money. By the time the mainstream catches on, the infrastructure will already be built, the partnerships will be locked in, and the first mover advantages will be insurmountable. The swift ISO 20022 migration deadline in November 2025 is going to be a massive catalyst. Over 11,000 banks worldwide will need to upgrade their messaging systems, and the networks with native ISO support will have an immediate advantage. BIS Project M-Bridge has already processed $11 million in real value CBDC transfers between China, Thailand, UAE, and Hong Kong, with production targets set for 2026. If you're already holding QNT, XRP, XDC, HBAR, or XLM, congratulations. You've positioned yourself in the infrastructure layer of the next financial system. But just holding isn't enough. Here's your game plan. If you're already holding QNT, XRP, XDC, HBAR, or XLM, congratulations. You've positioned yourself in the infrastructure layer of the next financial system. But just holding isn't enough. Here's your game plan. Don't just know the ticker symbols, understand the missions, partnerships, and roadmaps. You should be able to explain why XDC matters to global trade or how Overledger enables banking sector integration without checking your phone. Deep knowledge creates unshakable conviction, and conviction is your edge when markets get volatile. Study the white papers, track enterprise partnerships, and follow real news from institutions, not just crypto influencers. The more you understand what you're holding, the less likely you are to panic sell before the real moves happen. Foundation tokens don't moon on hype cycles. They rally on adoption milestones. XRP traded under $0.3 for 9 months before exploding to $3.84 in just 34 days once regulatory clarity emerged. QNT idled around $40 for months before hitting $428 after major integrations went live. HBAR stayed under $0.1 for years before breaking out on enterprise adoption news. The pattern is clear. Infrastructure moves last, then moves fast. Instead of asking, why isn't this pumping? Ask, what problems is this solving and how close are we to mass adoption? Here's where most people get portfolio construction wrong. They jump from serious infrastructure projects into speculative hype coins, hoping to catch quick pumps. But if you understand that these 5 tokens are building different components of the same global financial system, your portfolio is already diversified within the most important theme in crypto. You've got interoperability, QNT, liquidity bridges, XRP, trade finance, XDC, enterprise DLT, HBAR, and financial inclusion, XLM. That's not a random collection. That's a strategic allocation aligned with institutional adoption trends. Retail hype can be loud and temporary. Institutional movement is quiet but infinitely more powerful. Train yourself to pay attention to the signals that actually matter. Central bank reports on blockchain and digital currencies, ISO 20022 adoption timelines, CBDC sandbox pilot announcements, partnership announcements from real-world companies, not just crypto startups, updates from governing councils and enterprise alliances. When the IMF publishes research mentioning interoperability, that matters. When a project joins a government pilot program, that really matters. When major banks announce blockchain integration timelines, that's where the real alpha is. Right now, crypto markets are still dominated by speculative trading behavior. But there's a fundamental shift coming, and it's not another meme season. It's a utility season where focus shifts from speculation to real-world value creation. The moment regulatory frameworks solidify and institutions begin moving significant value at scale, the market will prioritize infrastructure over entertainment, substance over hype, and utility over speculation. When that flip happens, the tokens with genuine enterprise adoption will move faster and further than anyone expects. The 5 tokens we've discussed aren't get-rich-quick schemes. They're asymmetric opportunities in a market that hasn't fully awakened to their potential yet. You're not late to this opportunity, but you're not early forever either. The window for quiet accumulation is closing. Global institutions are moving faster than ever toward digital infrastructure adoption. The $16 trillion tokenized real-world asset market, the $2.5 trillion trade finance gap, and 80-plus central bank CBDC pilots create unprecedented demand for compliant, high-throughput networks. QNT, XRP, XDC, HBAR, and XLM aren't just tokens. They're ownership stakes in the infrastructure that will power the next generation of finance. When the shift from speculation to integration accelerates, these assets will be positioned at the center of the largest wealth transfer in history. The institutions are already building. The partnerships are already forming. The infrastructure is already being deployed. The only question is, will you be positioned when the rest of the world finally understands what you've been holding all along? So stay sharp, stay patient, and stay convicted, because the future of finance isn't coming, it's already being built, and you're holding pieces of it. If this breakdown helped you understand why these 5 tokens are positioned to dominate the next era of finance, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the infrastructure that's quietly reshaping the world of money. Listen up. While 99% of crypto investors are still chasing dog coins and praying for the next 1000x moonshot, there's a massive shift happening right under their noses. And if you're holding QNT, XRP, XDC, HBAR, or XLM, you're positioned at the epicenter of what could be the biggest wealth transfer in financial history. We're not talking about speculation here, folks. We're talking about the foundational infrastructure that's being quietly woven into the global financial system while everyone else is distracted by meme coin madness. These 5 tokens aren't just cryptocurrencies. They're the digital rails that will carry trillions of dollars in the next decade. Major banks, tech titans, governments, and even central banks are forming strategic partnerships with these projects. They're building the backbone for cross-border payments, tokenized real-world assets, digital identity systems, and enterprise-grade blockchain solutions. You won't see them trending on TikTok or getting hyped by influencers, but in boardrooms from London to Singapore, they're already being integrated into the next generation of finance. Here's what most people don't realize. These aren't just altcoins hoping for adoption. They're infrastructure tokens that are already being chosen for it. And if you're holding them, you're not late to the party, you're early to the revolution. But only if you understand what you're actually holding before the institutional floodgates open. So buckle up, because we're about to break down why these 5 tokens are positioned to dominate the transition from speculation to real-world utility. Let's dive deep into each token, not just what they promise, but what they're already delivering and why they're essential pieces of tomorrow's financial puzzle. Quant Network isn't trying to be the next Ethereum or compete with other blockchains. It's playing an entirely different game, one that's way more valuable. QNT is building the internet of blockchains through its revolutionary Overledger network. Think of it this way. If individual blockchains are like isolated computers, QNT is the internet protocol that connects them all together. But here's the kicker. It doesn't just connect blockchains to each other. Overledger acts as a universal API that allows traditional banking systems, government databases, and enterprise software to communicate with any blockchain without changing their existing infrastructure. The real-world proof points are staggering. QNT partnered with the Bank of England and MIT on Project Rosalind, a retail CBDC sandbox that demonstrates how central bank digital currencies can integrate with existing payment rails. They're also working with the Inter-American Development Bank on tokenized bond pilots that could reshape how governments issue debt. But here's where it gets really interesting. QNT has a fixed supply of just 14.6 million tokens. And here's the genius part. Every time an enterprise wants to use Overledger's gateway services, they must lock QNT tokens in escrow. This creates structural demand that's directly tied to API usage. The more the network grows, the more QNT gets locked away. With Swift's ISO 20022 migration deadline hitting in November 2025, banks are scrambling to upgrade their messaging systems. QNT's native ISO 20022 translation module can reduce integration costs by 60% for Tier 1 banks. We're talking about a $14 trillion annual clearing network that's already connected through QNT's partnership with SIA, Europe's payment infrastructure covering 580 plus banks. This isn't just another blockchain project. It's the hidden layer that could be everywhere before most people even know it exists. XRP has been battle tested like no other token on this list, and frankly, it's the most misunderstood. Built by Ripple, XRP was laser focused on solving one massive problem: the archaic, expensive nightmare of cross-border payments. Right now, sending money from Nigeria to Germany or India to the US is like navigating a financial obstacle course. Your transaction bounces between multiple intermediary banks, taking days to settle while racking up ridiculous fees. RippleNet, powered by XRP, obliterates this inefficiency with real-time settlement in 3 to 5 seconds, at less than half a cent per transaction. But here's what changed the game completely. The July 2023 US District Court ruling that declared programmatic XRP sales are not securities followed by the November 2024 SEC settlement that closed the case with just a $50 million fine, this legal clarity didn't just end the lawsuit, it opened the floodgates for institutional adoption. The numbers are mind-blowing. Ripple's on-demand liquidity now covers 40-plus payout markets, representing roughly 90% of global foreign exchange pairs. ODL volume has exploded 20x since 2022, and we're talking about freeing up billions in nostril capital that banks previously had to lock up in foreign accounts. 3 major players, BlackRock, Grayscale, and VanEck, have filed for spot XRP ETFs, with SEC decisions expected in Q4 2025. When these get approved, we're looking at a potential liquidity tsunami that could dwarf what we saw with Bitcoin ETFs. The historic price action tells the story perfectly. XRP rallied 580% from November 2024 to January 2025, and even after the broader market pullback, it's still up 340% year to date. This is what happens when infrastructure meets regulatory clarity, and we're just getting started. Most crypto investors have never heard of trade finance, and that's exactly why they're sleeping on XDC. But here's the reality check. Global trade finance is a $5 trillion market that's stuck in the Stone Age, drowning in paperwork, delays, and opacity. XDC Network is built specifically to solve this through its brilliant hybrid architecture. They've created a system where sensitive trade documents live in permissioned subnetworks for privacy, while settlement proofs are anchored to a public chain for transparency. It's the perfect balance that banks and governments actually need. The validation is incredible. XDC is the first and only blockchain admitted to the Global Trade Finance Distribution Initiative alongside financial giants like ABN, AMRO, ING, Santander Asset Management, and SMBC. We're talking about the institutional networks that move trillions of dollars in trade every year. Their flagship application, TradeFinex, tokenizes everything from invoices to bills of lading under full ISO 20022 compliance. The results? Issuance costs drop by 75% and processing times shrink from days to hours. When you consider there's a $2.5 trillion unmet demand for SME trade, finance, and digital distribution, revenue is projected to hit $157 billion by 2033, XDC is positioned at the center of a massive disruption. But here's the secret weapon. XDC has a live bridge to R3 Corda, which is crucial because over 90% of syndicated
A lot of people are sleeping on what's happening in the crypto markets right now, but if you know where to look, the signs are clear. Something big is coming. In this video, I'm going to reveal 4 altcoins that I believe are going to explode in 2025. But before I give you these picks, I want to break down exactly what I'm seeing on the charts and why this could be the perfect time to position yourself ahead of the next major move. So we're going to start off by looking at the Bitcoin chart. And what we can see is since 2022, Bitcoin has been following this ascending trend line ever since the bottom of the bear market. And every time we've actually come down to this key level here, we've seen a significant bounce in price. As long as we keep holding this trend line here, I'm going to expect continued upside. When we zoom in on the price of Bitcoin, we can see that we have got a bounce from my blue box here, which was a key level that I actually identified in my last video. And if you took that trade, you would have made quite a bit of money on that move up. But right now, we're pretty much flirting with the all-time highs. And I really want to see Bitcoin break above this key level of support here. If we can get above that level and hold that, then we're likely to break out to the upside and hit some of these higher price targets. But where we currently are on Bitcoin, this zone here that we've essentially been trading sideways in, it actually reminds me of this zone here back in July of 2024. And what happened was once we actually got a breakout above those highs, that's when we went massively into price discovery. So I'm looking for the exact same thing to repeat once again. But when we can finally get a breakout of these highs here, this is when I'm going to be looking for a massive run up in price. Now, when we look at the total free chart, we can actually see that we've been forming this massive ascending triangle pattern. And we're currently nearing the apex of this triangle. And when we do get to the apex, this is when I'm actually expecting altcoins to break out massively to the upside and go into price discovery. And this is where your altcoins are going to do 10, 15, 20x returns in a very small amount of time. Now, whether we break out now or we do consolidate a little bit longer, it doesn't really matter, because when we get to the apex, it's coming to a decision point where the market's going to decide, is it going to break bullish or is it going to break bearish? And my bet is that this market is actually going to break bullish. Now, as I promised, I'm going to give you 4 coins that I believe are about to absolutely explode. So coin number 1 that I'm looking at is actually Virtual's Protocol. So priced at $1.52 with a market cap of 1 billion, this is a project that I'm really excited about at the moment. It essentially combines 2 of the biggest trends in tech right now, AI and crypto. And Virtual's Protocol is building the infrastructure for AI agents to operate autonomously on-chain and earn real money. With strong token utilities, real-world use cases, and increasing investor interest, Virtual could be one of the hottest coins this bull run, and with its recent performance, it wouldn't surprise me if Virtual's Protocol was one of the best performers of this bull run. Taking a look at the price chart of Virtual Protocol, we can see that we don't have a lot of price history to work with since it is a newer coin. Now, what we had is we had this descending level of resistance, and we actually broke above this, and this got us our breakout to the upside. Now, to me, this coin is looking like it's ready to start a bullish uptrend where it's going to put in higher highs and higher lows. Now, we have seen a bit of a correction in the short term, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do get a bit more of a move down, potentially to around that dollar mark, where we could see a significant bounce to put in that next leg higher, potentially back up to the previous all-time highs back here. Pick number 2, guys, we've got Aerodrome Finance. So priced at 69 cents with a market cap of only 595 million, this coin is massively undervalued in my opinion. Aerodrome Finance is essentially the Uniswap for the base ecosystem. This project has a ton of total value locked up and is generating massive amounts of income through fees. This coin is also one of the lowest market cap coins that I'm going to talk about today and has massive potential for upside. When we take a look at the price chart for Aerodrome Finance, we can see that we've actually come down to my blue box, which is my key level of support, and we've started a new uptrend where we've been putting in higher highs and higher lows, and I'm going to expect this trend to continue. And when we zoom in on the daily chart, we can see that we are starting to get into that oversold territory, but it does look like there's a little bit more room for potential downside. So it wouldn't actually surprise me if we do see this come down a little bit more and then get a bounce from one of these key levels down here to put in that next higher high. Now, for me, this is a good buying opportunity if we do come down, and it's a good chance to be able to accumulate some more Aerodrome and fill up your bags. Pick number 3, guys, we've got Ondo Finance. So priced at 77 cents with a market cap of 2.4 billion. Ondo Finance is one of the leaders in the tokenization of real-world assets, seamlessly bridging traditional finance with blockchain technology by offering institutional-grade financial products on-chain. Partnered with BlackRock, Ondo is one of my highest conviction plays. Now, taking a look at the Ondo chart, we can see that we've actually come down to a very key level of support and resistance. And as we've come down to this key level, we're actually printing some very bullish signs. So we can see that as our price action was making lower lows, our momentum waves have actually been making higher highs and is about to print a green dot, giving us a bullish divergence. Now, this indicates a loss of momentum in the trend and is a very strong bottom signal. So with this signal printing on the chart, it wouldn't actually surprise me if we do actually see quite a big pump for Ondo, potentially bringing us back up to the previous all-time highs at around $2 and potentially even breaking above those levels very soon. Pick number 4, guys, is going to be Render. So priced at $3.15 with a market cap of 1.6 billion. I think Render is going to be one of the hottest AI picks. Render is a leading AI project revolutionizing decentralized GPU rendering. This project has already been utilized by Apple, and when AI takes off again, I think this coin is a no-brainer. Now, taking a look at the price chart, we can see that since August of 2023, we did have a massive move up for Render of about a 10x, but since then, we've actually had a very significant correction where it's actually come down almost 80%. Now, the key thing here is we've come down to a very key level of support, which was our previous high back here in May of 2023. Now come down to retest that level to flip it into support, and this is where I'm going to be looking for Render to bottom and put in that floor to potentially give us that next move up. Now, taking a look at the momentum waves, we can see that we are quite oversold, and this momentum wave is looking to me like it wants to start curving to the upside, which is likely going to give us that push up very soon. Now guys, those are 4 altcoins that I would be accumulating right now. If you like that video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you'd like some one-on-one coaching with me to learn how to trade or how to invest, just message me on either Instagram or Twitter. And to purchase my top 10 picks, you can just click on the link below.
Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novogratz say we have bottomed out. Bottomed out, Novogratz is bullish. Bottomed out, don't ever rise is bearish. Novogratz is bullish. Bitcoin could be at 40,000. Let us go to moon.
A lot of people are sleeping on what's happening in the crypto markets right now, but if you know where to look, the signs are clear. Something big is coming. In this video, I'm going to reveal 4 altcoins that I believe are going to explode in 2025. But before I give you these picks, I want to break down exactly what I'm seeing on the charts and why this could be the perfect time to position yourself ahead of the next major move. So we're going to start off by looking at the Bitcoin chart. And what we can see is since 2022, Bitcoin has been following this ascending trend line ever since the bottom of the bear market. And every time we've actually come down to this key level here, we've seen a significant bounce in price. As long as we keep holding this trend line here, I'm going to expect continued upside. When we zoom in on the price of Bitcoin, we can see that we have got a bounce from my blue box here, which was a key level that I actually identified in my last video. And if you took that trade, you would have made quite a bit of money on that move up. But right now, we're pretty much flirting with the all-time highs. And I really want to see Bitcoin break above this key level of support here. If we can get above that level and hold that, then we're likely to break out to the upside and hit some of these higher price targets. But where we currently are on Bitcoin, this zone here that we've essentially been trading sideways in, it actually reminds me of this zone here back in July of 2024. And what happened was once we actually got a breakout above those
of syndicated trade finance
above those highs, that's when we went massively into price discovery. So I'm looking for the exact same thing to repeat once again. But when we can finally get a breakout of these highs here, this is when I'm going to be looking for a massive run up in price. Now, when we look at the total free chart, we can actually see that we've been forming this massive ascending triangle pattern, and we're currently nearing the apex of this triangle. And when we do get to the apex, this is when I'm actually expecting altcoins to break out massively to the upside and go into price discovery. And this is where your altcoins are going to do 10, 15, 20x returns in a very small amount of time. Now, whether we break out now or we do consolidate a little bit longer, it doesn't really matter, because when we get to the apex, it's coming to a decision point where the market's going to decide, is it going to break bullish or is it going to break bearish? And my bet is that this market is actually going to break bullish. Now, as I promised, I'm going to give you 4 coins that I believe are about to absolutely explode. So coin number 1 that I'm looking at is actually Virtual's protocol. So priced at $1.52 with a market cap of $1 billion, this is a project I'm really excited about at the moment. It essentially combines two of the biggest trends in tech right now, AI and crypto. And Virtual's protocol is building the infrastructure for AI agents to operate autonomously on-chain and earn real money. With strong token utilities, real-world use cases, and increasing investor interest, Virtual could be one of the hottest coins this bull run, and with its recent performance, it wouldn't surprise me if Virtual's protocol was one of the best performers of this bull run. Taking a look at the price chart of Virtual Protocol, we can see that we don't have a lot of price history to work with since it is a newer coin. Now, what we had is we had this descending level of resistance, and we actually broke above this, and this got us our breakout to the upside. Now, to me, this coin is looking like it's ready to start a bullish uptrend where it's going to put in higher highs and higher lows. Now, we have seen a bit of a correction in the short term, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do get a bit more of a move down, potentially to around that dollar mark, where we could see a significant bounce to put in that next leg higher, potentially back up to the previous all-time highs back here. Pick number 2, guys, we've got Aerodrome Finance. So priced at 69 cents with a market cap of only 595 million, this coin is massively undervalued in my opinion. Aerodrome Finance is essentially the Uniswap for the base ecosystem. This project has a ton of total value locked up and is generating massive amounts of income through fees. This coin is also one of the lowest market cap coins that I'm going to talk about today and has massive potential for upside. When we take a look at the price chart for Aerodrome Finance, we can see that we've actually come down to my blue box, which is my key level of support, and we've started a new uptrend where we've been putting in higher highs and higher lows, and I'm going to expect this trend to continue. And when we zoom in on the daily chart, we can see that we are starting to get into that oversold territory, but it does look like there's a little bit more room for potential downside. So it wouldn't actually surprise me if we do see this come down a little bit more and then get a bounce from one of these key levels down here to put in that next higher high. Now, for me, this is a good buying opportunity if we do come down, and it's a good chance to be able to accumulate some more Aerodrome and fill up your bags. Pick number 3, guys, we've got Ondo Finance. So priced at 77 cents with a market cap of 2.4 billion. Ondo Finance is one of the leaders in the tokenization of real-world assets, seamlessly bridging traditional finance with blockchain technology by offering institutional-grade financial products on-chain. Partnered with BlackRock, Ondo is one of my highest conviction plays. Now, taking a look at the Ondo chart, we can see that we've actually come down to a very key level of support and resistance. And as we've come down to this key level, we're actually printing some very bullish signs. So we can see that as our price action was making lower lows, our momentum waves have actually been making higher highs and is about to print a green dot, giving us a bullish divergence. Now, this indicates a loss of momentum in the trend and is a very strong bottom signal. So with this signal printing on the chart, it wouldn't actually surprise me if we do actually see quite a big pump for Ondo, potentially bringing us back up to the previous all-time highs at around $2 and potentially even breaking above those levels very soon. Pick number 4, guys, is going to be Render. So priced at $3.15 with a market cap of 1.6 billion. I think Render is going to be one of the hottest AI picks. Render is a leading AI project revolutionizing decentralized GPU rendering. This project has already been utilized by Apple, and when AI takes off again, I think this coin is a no-brainer. Now, taking a look at the price chart, we can see that since August of 2023, we did have a massive move up for Render of about a 10x, but since then, we've actually had a very significant correction where it's actually come down almost 80%. Now, the key thing here is we've come down to a very key level of support, which was our previous high back here in May of 2023. Now come down to retest that level to flip it into support. And this is where I'm going to be looking for Render to bottom and put in that floor to potentially give us that next move up. Now, taking a look at the momentum waves, we can see that we are quite oversold, and this momentum wave is looking to me like it wants to start curving to the upside, which is likely going to give us that push up very soon. Now, guys, those are 4 altcoins that I'll be accumulating right now. If you like that video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you'd like some one-on-one code
with Customs Border Protection. So we know that that's something that since day one has been really doing well, and so many other things as well. We know the big beautiful bill just passed, of course, and looking forward to seeing all of those gains when it comes to every part of our country, whether it's the military, whether it's our taxes going down, whether it's the southern border wall being complete, so many different things. All of this brought to you by, as we await the president there in about 19 minutes from now for the 6th cabinet meeting with President Trump and the cabinet leaders there. Let's go to callsheet.com/RSBN. If you're looking to bet or trade on pretty much anything, sports, technology, science, politics, or looking at various questions that you see there from callsheet.com/RSBN. You could also use the Callsheet app. This is great stuff. I mean, this is a for real money market, and a lot of people putting money on the line for various questions out there. And you can check it out if you'd like, callsheet.com/RSBN, and go ahead and use that Callsheet app as well. All right, mypillow.com/RSBN. You see the RSBN promo code and all sorts of great products there as well. Free shipping sale. Who doesn't like free, right? So free shipping sale, mypillow.com/RSBN. More than 2,000 products there for you to choose, including the My Coffee. You've got the My Cross, you've got the bed sheets, you have multi-use My Pillow 2.0. Also, there's a Go Anywhere pillow, which is pretty cool for traveling, of course, road trips or on the airplane, that kind of thing. So if you're going anywhere this summer, hopefully you have at least a day, 2 days, maybe 3 days, maybe a week of a vacation planned for this summer before it becomes fall again, back into September. All right, 10:43 Tuesday, July 8th. Awaiting President Trump right now for the cabinet meeting. Again, will this be one of those cabinet meetings where we see the president, we see all the cabinet leaders, and then the reporters ask some questions, and then that's it? Or will it be like the previous cabinet meeting, where it was each department head spoke about their specific department all the way around the table? Not sure which one will happen this time, but I do know that if it's not that, if it's simply the reporters asking questions and more of an overall kind of 30,000-foot view cabinet meeting that we'll be able to witness as the public, that's great too. I mean, we know that cabinet meetings are usually not something that the public gets to see, because these are meetings that all the department leaders just have to get into the nitty-gritty and talk about. But that's what they did last time, and we were able to see it. So who knows what will happen this time. 10:44. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Matthew Alvarez. And if you watched the previous broadcast with Robert McNeely, of course, a press conference with the Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins and others talking about, making sure that figuring out who's owning farmland, especially around various bases, military bases. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was a part of that press conference, and others. I believe the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi as well. So a lot of people involved in that press conference from the previous stream. So if you'd like to, maybe after this live stream, you can check out that one, and then you're pretty much up to date for, the news of the day, unless there's breaking news, or like yesterday, we didn't know that there would be a press conference there at the White House until about 2 hours, 3 hours prior to that. So sometimes things pop up, and we're there to cover it for you, whether that's live right here on the channel or on X or Truth Social, Facebook. We also, of course, are on Rumble, a great choice there with free live streaming. It's great to see that. Obviously, there's some premium memberships there too with ads and all that, but you can check that out. And then, of course, on YouTube. So thanks again for streaming with us. All right, let's go to a story that I've been following and that President Trump spoke about the other day, as we may have Ricardo Martins of Brazil join us. I ran into Ricardo at CPAC in D.C. a couple years back, and he was with the entourage of Jair Bolsonaro. So this guy, a media member, but also just somebody that's on the right side of history, a full supporter of Jair Bolsonaro, of course. President Trump speaking about the former president of Brazil as well. I believe we do have that. Terrible thing on their treatment of former President Jair Bolsonaro. I have watched, and as the world has, as they have done nothing but come after him day after day, night after night, month after month, year after year. He is not guilty of anything except having fought for the people. President Trump says, I have gotten to know Jair Bolsonaro, and he was a strong leader who truly loved his country, also a very tough negotiator on trade. His election was very close, and now he is leading in the polls. This is nothing more or less than an attack on a political opponent, something, President Trump says here, I know much about. That happened to me times 10, and now our country is the hottest in the world. The great people of Brazil will not stand for what they are doing to their former president. I'll be watching the witch hunt of Jair Bolsonaro, his family, and thousands of his supporters very closely. The only trial that should be happening is a trial by the voters of Brazil. It's called an election. Leave Bolsonaro alone. And there's been a lot of times that I've brought up a number of world leaders like Jair Bolsonaro, like Viktor Orban, like Nayib Bukele and others out there, Milei in Argentina. Obviously, all of them in office right now. Then you have Nigel Farage, the Reform UK leader. But Jair Bolsonaro, I mean, the people there in Brazil, the great Portuguese-speaking people who my wife ran into and I ran into out there at a conference in Vegas. We were at the Trump International Hotel there, and there were a number of people from Brazil. And they all had Brazilian gear on and MAGA gear too. And, you know, we spoke to each other, kind of broken English back and forth, you know what I mean, from them. But we were able to connect on the fact that we just love freedom, and we love President Trump, and we love the guy down in Brazil that is the Trump of the tropics, you know, the Brazilian leader. But we saw that Lula and somehow they so-called won the election, and all of the people, the majority of the country in Brazil, are obviously not happy with Lula, and they want Bolsonaro back. So we may have Ricardo Martins in just a bit here. What I'd like to do now is actually, maybe we'll take a quick commercial break. I have a video from CPAC when I actually asked a question to Jair Bolsonaro, the leader of Brazil at the time. So why don't we do this? We'll go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll show you that video.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free, or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs, or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Okay, welcome back. Before we get to that video from CPAC from a couple years ago with Jair Bolsonaro, if you're just joining us, I just read the President Trump's Truth Social post about the former Brazilian leader that is widely supported by the people of Brazil, because Bolsonaro, on the right side of history, this guy is about freedom for his land. If you remember watching any videos, if you did, I'm not sure if everybody would, but I watched on X, back in the day when the president, Bolsonaro, would be going from town to town or at various events, and hundreds of thousands of people would join in the streets or at these events and just go wild for this guy, because he is the Brazilian version of President Trump. It was just really great to see. We'll get to that video in just a minute as we await this cabinet meeting there in Washington. And then on top of that, we believe that the Ricardo Martins will be joining us live, who, again, was part of the Bolsonaro entourage when he was when I ran into Ricardo at CPAC in Washington. So we'll get to that in a minute. Let's go first to some of the breaking news, of course, from All Family Pharmacy, known for standing up for medical freedom. They launched their biggest sale of the year just recently. So now through July 13th, it's buy one, get one free on ivermectin, mebendazole, hydroxychloroquine for the 200 milligram amount. That means whatever you order, they'll double it. So 30 capsules becomes 60, 90 becomes 180. No insurance needed, no red tape. You'll get a doctor's prescription included. So while the big chains, they shut you out, All Family Pharmacy steps up, giving patriots just like you the power to choose these kind of products that you'd like. So allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN is the place to go to for this buy one, get one free. It ends July 13th. A great sponsor, of course, here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. As we are about 8 minutes away from the start of the cabinet meeting. Will it start right at 11? You and I, we don't know, because I'm here in Alabama. You guys are watching from wherever you're watching. But as soon as we see that live feed, we'll send you there to that cabinet meeting. This is the 6th cabinet meeting with President Trump and the leaders that he has selected. Great patriots, but also this is about 5.5 months into President Trump's second term. And we'll hear from hopefully some of the department leaders there, if not at least the president, and some of the questions from some of the fake news there. Not everybody is fake news at the White House anymore, which is great. What a different time we live in. So hopefully that'll remain the way it is, regardless of administrations moving forward. Hopefully they're all on the right side of history, trust me. But just saying that about the new media aspect there in Washington. All right, so as promised, the CPAC video. So Jair Bolsonaro was just done speaking at CPAC a couple years back in DC, and there was a lady that was running for political office in New Jersey that was Portuguese as well, and I asked her if she could translate because I wanted to ask Jair Bolsonaro a question, and it was a very simple question. I mean, if you've got 2 seconds to ask somebody something, I asked something like, "What's your message to the free world?" Something like that. So let's take a look.
Presidente, qual é a sua mensagem para o mundo livre? Uma mensagem para o mundo livre. Uma mensagem. Fala só.
Pessoal, fique atento. Lute pela sua liberdade. Pelo amor de Deus, ela pode acabar.
Obrigada, presidente.
What did he say?
He said.
What did he say?
He said, fight for your freedom and pay attention for everything what you're doing for freedom.
So, I mean, that was prior to J13 and Jair Bolsonaro saying, fight for your freedom. It was just pretty cool to run into a world leader like that. And I've been around President Trump too, and like anybody really in the media, but it's great to just be a part of, just being on the right side of history and asking questions that would, where people, really want to know, okay, specifically, can you tell me about this, X, Y, and Z? Anyway, so we're having some connectivity issues with Ricardo Martins of Brazil. He, again, was part of the entourage there that my wife and I actually ran into Ricardo there at CPAC a few years back. In the meantime, you might be wondering, why are we talking about Brazil so much? Well, President Trump talked about Brazil just the other day. And on Truth Social, we read that post just a minute ago about Brazil doing a terrible thing on their treatment of the former president. So I thought it'd be a good time to bring on Ricardo. If that doesn't work, we'll move on. It does look like we have him now. So let's go to Ricardo Martins as we await this cabinet meeting there in Washington. Ricardo, great to see you again here on Right Side. What is it like to see the leader of the free world, President Trump, once again saying, you know what, leave Bolsonaro alone. And all the people of Brazil, a majority, aren't they supporters of Jair?
Yes, exactly. Good to have me. Good to see you again, and thanks for having me in. Yes, it's outstanding. It's been wonderful since we heard everything what we saw yesterday, and the Truth Social post, of course. This has been in the Brazilian media for over and over in the last 24 hours. We know that this is a huge thing within Brazilians. Of course, I don't know if you guys already seen, but Jair Bolsonaro right now at the polls, he have over 50% of the votes in Brazil. That means that the communists in Brazil, of course, Lula da Silva and also Alexander de Moraes, he's the chief judge at the electoral court, and he's a Supreme Court judge. He's been in this witch hunt against Bolsonaro. It's been for the last 2 years now. And we understand now, as we speak, that there is something huge happening in Brazil. The media already shifted the narrative, and they're already starting to see that Donald Trump are not playing. He's not playing. He is clearly in his statement is that Jair Bolsonaro, leave him alone. That's what he said. It's a strong word, leave him alone. And Jair Bolsonaro is been receiving threats of being arrested. He already have his passport seized. He can't leave the country now. Many don't know, but his son, which is a congressman, Eduardo Bolsonaro, he's been living in the U.S. as an asylum seeker because he cannot enter the country anymore. They want to put him in jail as well. We have journalists and we have so many people now in America that cannot even step their feet in Brazilian soil because of all the judicial coup that took place in Brazil. They've been playing with Lula da Silva as like their puppet, but actually, and the Supreme Court is the entity that controls Brazil as we speak now, unfortunately.
Exactly. And again, if you're just joining us right now, this is Ricardo Martins. Ran into him, part of Jair Bolsonaro's entourage at CPAC a couple years ago, bringing it up. President Trump speaking in defense of the former leader of Brazil. Before I let you go, Ricardo, of course, we're waiting for the cabinet meeting in Washington, D.C. with President Trump. Can you talk to the American viewers right now and let them know whatever you'd like, of course, but the question I've got is, the Brazilian people, the American people, what I'm trying to get to is we just want to be free, don't we? Isn't it the same thing in Brazil that we would want if we were all Brazilian here in America? We'd want Jair Bolsonaro, right?
Yes. I've seen so many good friends living under fear in Brazil. And some of them, unfortunately, they had to leave the country. They went to Europe, they went to Argentina, some came to the United States. And unfortunately, we see that democracy doesn't exist in Brazil as we speak right now. And all we've fought for in Brazil, you've been following with me for the last couple of years now. We've seen so many things happening the January 8th in Brazil. The political persecution that took place, it broke out this huge judicial coup as we speak. This is not a joke. This is a judicial coup d'etat in Brazil that took place. And for Donald Trump to post online, it means that there's many things working in the backstage for this to happen, because he knows that the same thing that happened to him in America under the Biden administration is now happening with Jair Bolsonaro under Lula administration. And one good question that I ask all American is, and also for my fellow Brazilian friends, is Donald Trump will certify or recognize the 2026 elections in Brazil? Because the same pattern, Matt, it is happening right now in Brazil. So many things. Of course, the last elections is under suspicion. The 2022 elections, we understand that. It was a one of the things that Donald Trump said that I disagree with him. It is because he said that Lula won the election. The election was stolen, was rigged, and we know that. Of course, I don't know if he can make that statement, but we understand that 2026 it is a very important moment in the Brazilian history because we are about to lose freedom. We are about to lose complete freedom as we speak because right now, at this moment, Lula da Silva with the Supreme Court is organizing, orchestrating a internet shutdown as like a China model, China style internet with firewalls and everything, controlling every single data that flows through the country. That's very unfortunate, and this is what's been happening, and we don't want that to happen with us.
I agree with you 100%. And you know, sometimes President Trump, of course, diplomatic reasons says certain things, but
yes,
we know, just as you saw, though, now that we see with President Trump posting this about Jair Bolsonaro, a full post, and maybe we could pull it up on the screen, Director, while we're talking with Ricardo, as we're waiting for this cabinet meeting in Washington, D.C. This was quite the lengthy post by President Trump. And if we can't pull it up, it's all right. We can just go to Truth Social if you'd like to at home. You can check out President Trump's post about this. But great to have you on, Ricardo. What's your final message right now for the people of America and Brazil?
I would like to invite the Americans to support us in our fight for freedom in the country. We know that USAID and so many agencies had interfered in the 2022 elections down in Brazil. It's not a secret anymore. And we would like your support for you to stand with us because we don't want another country to fall into the hands of a communist and also this social democratic coup d'etat, like this light communism that is happening. And I invite you all Americans and friends to join us in this fight and pray for us and help us in this journey because we cannot waste our time in distractions as we lose our freedoms. And the most important thing we have, it is our freedoms. Thank you so much, Matt. God bless you all.
God bless you, Ricardo. It's so true. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Ricardo Martins of Brazil. Thank you again, sir. So, you know, his point there, exactly right. You know, when it talks about the fact of freedoms as being the main thing. And that's why, you know, we see as part of the 20 core promises when it comes to President Trump and the RNC platform had everything to do with defending our Constitution, sealing the border, ending the weaponization of government. I mean, these are the real nitty gritty type of things that we're looking to see continue to happen in this country. If you're just joining us now, we've been on the air for almost an hour now. A lot that we've covered over the past hour, including President Trump speaking just yesterday with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at that dinner. He spoke about the Central Texas situation as well. We're hearing that President Trump will be going to Texas on Friday. Now, we're waiting for the confirmation from the White House on that. But it looks like at this point that's what will be happening next on Friday, at least. Tomorrow, according to Carolyn Levitt, she said that President Trump will be having lunch with 5 African leaders. That's tomorrow. Obviously, on the schedule today is the cabinet meeting. This is President Trump's 6th cabinet meeting coming up, and we're glad you're here with us on Right Side Broadcasting Network. So why don't we go to that soundbite from the Rapid Response 47 page where President Trump was asked about Central Texas as we continue our live coverage right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Have you spoken with any of the families of the victims of the Texas flood? And can you talk about what you would like to do when you travel there on Friday?
Well, we're going to just make it as comfortable as possible for the state of Texas. They have a great governor. They have wonderful senators. They have wonderful representatives, and we're going to work together with them. And we have been working really very hard. This whole table has been working. That was a terrible event. You saw that maybe where Texas was just absolutely so badly hurt by something that was a big surprise late in the evening. So we'll be working with the governor and all of the people of Texas.
Again, we'll have coverage, of course, on Friday if we see that the president will be headed there. So we'll have that live coverage on Friday. Of course, we're looking at least tomorrow. We know that the president will meet with the African leaders, 5 of them, for lunch tomorrow at the White House. And then just to keep backtracking, we're going to see today the cabinet meeting live right here on Right Side. So let's go to Colonial Metals Group as we await the president there for the cabinet meeting. freegoldguide.com/RSBN. freegoldguide.com/RSBN is the website. You can have the protection of the IRA there, and or you can protect your IRA and 401k with gold, 100% tax-free. You have the QR code as well. So freegoldguide.com/RSBN, great sponsor here. Let's go to callshe.com as well, /RSBN. You have a number of questions there on the screen that you can check out, but also science, technology, music, sports, politics, all sorts of questions that you can check out and bet and trade on if you'd like. So callshe.com/RSBN. You can get the app as well, or you can go to that QR code on your screen as it's 11:06, Tuesday, July 8th. Thanks again for streaming with us live right now as we continue our coverage as we get ready to go to Washington, D.C. Again, 11 o'clock this morning, and a few minutes from now, the president will hold the 6th cabinet meeting at the White House. Tomorrow, again, we spoke about the president meeting with some foreign leaders. And then on Friday, waiting for the confirmation on the fact that President Trump may be headed to Central Texas. Of course, more than 100 people have died in those catastrophic floods. And it's, we see different things going on when it comes to, how that weather pattern happened. There's a lot of chatter on both sides of it in the sense of this was just a natural thing and it was just Mother Nature. And then some are saying things like weather modification. This is me simply reporting what I see out there, including MTG talking about it and others. So, and it happened on July 4th. I'll stop there. I'm not going to get into super conspiracy things. I will bring up things that people are talking about, though, including weather modification. I was wondering it myself. Did they mess with the weather for that to happen, where there was, how many inches of rain fell in 45 minutes? I think I saw something. I'm not going to get into the numbers right now because I want to be accurate with it, but quite the past weekend there in Central Texas. All right, let's go to a commercial break. Matthew Alvarez will be right back.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Sil from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free, or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs, or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's look at President Trump's latest Truth Social post from a few minutes ago. As per letters sent to various countries yesterday, in addition to letters that will be sent today, tomorrow, and for the rest of this short period of time, tariffs will start being paid on August 1st, 2025. There has been no change to the date, and there will be no change. In other words, you know what? It says all money will be due and payable starting August 1st, 2025. No extensions will be granted. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wow, when you have to read from a small screen, man, I might have to start wearing those contacts again. But anyway, that's President Trump's latest Truth Social post from the President of the United States about 25 minutes ago. And also, we know that there's a new post from the Ag Secretary, Brooke Rollins, and Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Now, this is just after this morning's press conference that happened in Washington, D.C., as it's 11:11 a.m. As soon as I hear that video is ready, we'll go to that in just a second. But again, awaiting the cabinet meeting there in Washington, D.C. Of course, this is the 6th cabinet meeting for President Trump in his 2nd administration. During his 5th cabinet meeting, we were able to see and hear and be a part of basically that meeting, because every department head was speaking and they gave us an update all the way around the table. This time it may be simply President Trump talking about some of the news of the day, and then also interacting with the reporters there with some Q&A. And then from there, we'll see. Will that be the end of the feed? Then we'll stand by for that. And if not, if it's an entire meeting that we're going to be a part of, great to have that kind of live access into the White House there, which you guys have seen a lot of recently here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, specifically for the past 5.5 months. I mean, everything from every foreign leader that's visited the president, every trip that President Trump has taken overseas, or on Friday, of course, President Trump may be going to Central Texas. So there's just a lot that we're covering, of course, here at Right Side, as it's 11:12 this morning, Tuesday, July 8th. Let's continue on a little bit as we review some of that big, beautiful bill as we await that video from the Ag Secretary, Brooke Rollins. Here's what it means for everyday Americans. It's the largest tax cut in history for middle and working class Americans. And according to the Joint Committee on Taxation, the tax bill will most benefit workers and families making less than $50,000 per year. Bigger paychecks, there will be bring home pay of about $10,000 and more, plus more in annual take home pay for families. Obviously, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. A $12.5 billion modernization of our air traffic control system. It will permanently increase the child tax credit for more than 40 million Americans, permanently securing our borders by finishing the border wall and hiring thousands of new ICE officers and Border Patrol agents. It'll drive down energy costs with a massive expansion of domestic oil and gas production capacity. The big, beautiful bill that is now, of course, the big, beautiful law, the tax deduction on Made in America auto loan interest. Protection for 2 million family farms from punitive double taxation, creating Trump investment accounts for every American newborn, restoring fiscal sanity by cutting $1.5 trillion in spending, also strengthening Medicaid by eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse, and blocking illegal immigrants from receiving Medicaid, funding the Golden Dome missile defense system to confront 21st century threats, and modernizing our military to ensure that it has the resources to be a ready, lethal fighting force after 4 years of the Biden era weakness that we saw, of course. Remember, it was all about weakness and chaos with Biden, and it's quite the opposite with President Trump and this team. And we're going to see this patriotic group of people from the cabinet any moment from now. 11:14, Tuesday, July 8th. Director, do we have the video from the AG and the Secretary of Defense ready to go? Okay, almost there. All right, so if you'd like to donate to Right Side Broadcasting Network, you can do so. All you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801. So it's RSBN to 801-801. Thank you so much for doing so. We'll get into more specifics about that coming up here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's double check some posts on X and Truth Social as we await the cabinet meeting there in Washington, D.C. on this Tuesday, July 8th. The latest I'm seeing right now is the fact that the DoD Rapid Response Team, when we show this video, it's all about food security is national security in partnership with the Department of Defense and DHS and also the Justice Department. USDA is today announcing a National Farm Security Action Plan. That is what that press conference was that happened earlier today. So if you missed that, you can watch that live on replay in the sense of on Rumble or anywhere you watch Right Side Broadcasting Network. I hope you had a great weekend. I know that it's Tuesday. Usually we say that on a Monday, but it was great to have off yesterday and just enjoy time with the family and connect with family members that are in up in the Northeast region, as my wife and I are from there. And loving Alabama, though. I'll tell you what, even though it's 80, 90, 95 degrees and really humid, it's wonderful here in the South. All right, let's go to that video from the Ag Secretary.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke Rollins here with my great friend Secretary Pete Hegseth. Today is a banner day because today we continue to effectuate President Trump's vision of securing America against the world threats. And so today we're rolling out farm security is national security, protecting our agriculture homelands and our way of life. And again, what a joy to get to do this with Secretary Hegseth.
Well, thank you for your leadership. Honestly, I mean, this is what secretaries in your position should have done a long time ago. I mean, we've got a Department of Homeland Security director that cares about Homeland Security. Yeah.
Yes.
And an Attorney General that cares about justice.
Yes.
And at the Secretary at the Department of Defense, we care about Homeland Security. And as you said, energy security, food security, water security is national security. And so when you look at our bases here in the United States or around the world, we ought to know who owns that land around strategic bases.
That's right.
Where are they from? Are they Americans? If not, why?
Yeah.
And your plan helps us address that. And so we're excited to partner with you. Thank you for your leadership. Anything we can do, let us know.
Yeah.
And this is all part of securing America and American citizens and putting America first. So it's common sense for us.
Yeah.
It's just too bad government hasn't
done it yet. Amen. Thank you. Thanks everyone.
All right, so awaiting that live feed to the cabinet room there at the White House. Of course, this will be the 6th cabinet meeting for President Trump and the cabinet leaders there, great patriotic group that is leading our country. And we, the people, putting our trust in President Trump and these leaders, of course, to always do the right thing. And that's what we are, that's what we hired everybody to do, right? So we're on that side of history where it's common sense and it's all about freedom. So looking forward to more wins by this president. The big, beautiful bill, now the big, beautiful law, of course, is happening. So we'll monitor how that helps the American people, including seeing the southern border wall become complete. That's going to be great to see, as the old wall just wasn't going to hack it, as they say. We do know that the southern border, of course, very secure right now with our military that's down there. As we await this live feed from the cabinet room, why don't we play a video that we played way early in the broadcast from Eagle Pass, Texas. This is from the Department of Defense. And as we await that live feed, and then as we stand by, let's go to that video from Eagle Pass.
So our battalion took this mission over November 18th, 2024. We originally took over what was Task Force West out in the San Diego, El Centro, and Yuma sectors. We moved into our current AOR, which is Eagle Pass North, Eagle Pass South, and Carrizo Springs in March of this year. One of the big challenges that we experienced on this mission is when we were out in California and Arizona, there's large swaths of public land, and so it was easy for us to maneuver, easy for us to get sites, to move around the area. When we came out to Texas, Texas is almost all private land.
We have a very precarious balance that we have to maintain with the landowners. On the one hand, we have our federal authority, which allows us under Title VIII to enter into these lands that are within 25 miles of the border to enforce immigration law. On the other hand, we have to respect the rights of people to be secure in their persons and places.
So right now we have a little bit of a mixed approach. We work by, with, and through Border Patrol for a lot of our contact. They've been here before DOD came here, and they'll be here after us. But since we've been here, we've gotten several ranchers to open up their properties to get us on, to be the eyes on those properties for Border Patrol. And hopefully, as we build good relationships with those landowners, that message gets passed along to the other property owners that we don't have use agreements with right now. And so really for us, we're in that phase right now of building trust with the current landowners, doing a good job, cutting off the traffic that's coming across and disrupting their properties. And once we get that trust built with them, getting that message across to all the community that, hey, we are a partner here, we're all here on the same team, and opening up those doors for future sites.
shout out to our military down there on the southern border as we await the president's cabinet meeting. This is his 6th one of his 2nd administration. Looking forward to seeing the commander-in-chief and all of the cabinet leaders and any information that comes out of this meeting as we are standing by for that meeting. Scheduled originally to start at 11 a.m. It's 11:21. Thanks for sticking by with us and standing by with us as we are doing the same there in Washington, D.C. It'd be great to be a part of one of these meetings there, the cabinet room meeting, in the sense of from a reporter standpoint, from a journalist standpoint, and to ask the president some questions and maybe some of the leaders there at the cabinet, as a lot of media in there. And it's great to see new media as part of all of that happening in Washington, of course, where all the news is happening and what we cover here day in and day out, as we have a great live feed into all of the events that happen at the White House. If you joined us over the weekend, of course, over the weekend, or at least on Friday, with the July 4th fireworks, and then also the big, beautiful bill being signed into law. So we had a lot of coverage, of course, over the past few days. And then yesterday, the press briefing with Carolyn Levitt, great to see that. As I posted on True Social about that, it seems like every time she steps up to the podium there at the White House, it's just a grand slam home run. And I used a few clips from baseball, people just hitting grand slams. I mean, it's pretty much what is happening every time she steps up to the podium. Same thing with President Trump and same thing with his cabinet. So as soon as we see that live feed, we'll go to it. In the meantime, let's go to a few videos that we may have played earlier in the broadcast as we're standing by for this cabinet meeting to start. It's 11:22 this morning. Let's go to Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. He actually met with a foreign minister from India pretty recently. Take a look.
Well, Mr. Minister and your team, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the Pentagon. Thank you for taking the time. And we certainly look forward to future engagements as well, hopefully a 2x2 with Minister Singh, who I had a chance to speak to this morning, as well as Secretary Rubio. In their February meeting, almost right at the beginning of the administration, President Trump and Prime Minister Modi set a strong foundation for our relationship, which we're building on here today. Productive, pragmatic, and realistic. And our nations boast a rich and growing history of cooperation, driven by a shared commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. We're both clear-eyed regarding the dangers of aggression in the region. And most importantly, we possess the strength, and I believe wisdom, to together counter it. The United States is very pleased with the successful integration of many U.S. defense items into India's inventory. And building on this progress, we hope we can complete several major pending U.S. defense sales to India, expand our shared defense industrial cooperation and co-production efforts, strengthen interoperability, which is something Minister Singh mentioned multiple times, between our forces, and then formally sign a new 10-year framework for the U.S.-India major defense partnership, which we hope to do very soon. We're eager to work alongside you to realize our shared goals. They're deep and ongoing. Mr. Minister, your visit today marks an important milestone in the ongoing series of high-level engagements between our two great countries. Once again, thank you for being here. Look forward to a robust discussion with your team and a lot of partnership going forward. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so that was from 5 days ago from the Secretary of Defense, posting a few of those videos and sharing them with you as well, because we know that we are going to be seeing the Secretary of Defense among all of the secretaries of our government there in the cabinet meeting, in that cabinet room, in just a few minutes. We're awaiting that live feed, so as soon as we'll see it, we'll go to it here on this Tuesday, July 8th. Also, if you missed it earlier, the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, and the DOD Secretary, of course, and Pam Bondi, the United States Attorney General, among others, held a press conference earlier this morning. We're going to replay some of that right now for you, but that's while we're standing by awaiting the live feed from the cabinet there. So maybe we can, monitor that. As soon as we see any kind of sign of the cabinet meeting happening, we'll go to that. But in the meantime, for those of you joining us now that did not see some of that meeting from earlier today in Washington, D.C., here's the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. Director, I just want to make sure we have that ready before we toss to it. All right, let's go to that.
With this announcement today, we are taking this purpose and our American farmland back. American agriculture is not just about feeding our families, but about protecting our nation and standing up to foreign adversaries who are buying our farmland, stealing our research, and creating dangerous vulnerabilities in the very systems that sustain us. Reshoring and nearshoring our food and agriculture supply chain is essential for our nation's security. In coordination with the White House, the Departments of Treasury, Defense, Homeland Security, and Justice, as well as state governors, state agriculture commissioners, local, tribal, and territorial governments, today we announced the USDA's National Farm Security Action Plan. This plan includes 7 key action items, and there's a lot of people here that I want you to hear from, so I'm not going to go one by one, but just very quickly. It's on our website. The press has gotten a preview of it, and we can ask some questions once we finish the main program. But very quickly, and perhaps the most important, the first of the 7 is securing and protecting American farmland ownership. Actively engaging at every level of government to take swift legislative and executive action to ban the purchase of American farmland by Chinese nationals and other foreign adversaries. Standing on the shoulders of great governors, 3 of whom are standing behind me, who have already been leading the way on this issue. And at the federal government level, working to do everything within our ability, including presidential authorities, to claw back what has already been purchased by China and other foreign adversaries. Additionally, working with the Treasury of the Secretary of the Treasury, along with our Defense Department on memorandums to ensure that moving forward, there is a much more intentional look at who is buying what in this country and from where they are in the world. Also enhancing our agricultural supply chain resilience, also protecting our U.S. nutrition safety net from fraud and foreign exploitation. Number 4, defending agricultural research and innovation. No more sweetheart deals and secret pacts with countries that do not have our best interests in mind. Number 5, making sure that America First is in every USDA program, from farm loans to food safety. We have already canceled 7 active agreements with entities in foreign countries of concern and will continue to cancel additional agreements moving forward. I signed a memo today, thank you, which immediately removes 70 citizens from countries of concerns that currently are affiliated with the USDA through contracts or research arrangements. And we are working to issue regulatory action to remove over 550 entities from foreign countries of concern from our preferred catalog.
Sunroof top, digging in the scene with the gangster leaning up, and we ain't coming down. See on my face that smile. See on my head that's crown. I'm on the top of the world, top of the town, baby.
I moved up the hood that had the church on the corner where I sit and talk shit all day cause I wanna. And on top of that, wasn't none of y'all gonna do nothing but keep running your mouth and keep frontin'. Go ahead, say something. I'll wait. I ain't gonna wait too late, 'cause in a minute I'm escape. Cause there is no debate. No, it's not an option. You gotta keep top watch.
Sunroof top, digging in the scene with the gangster leaning up.